Welcome to Indianapolis for a great midsummer classic. From beautiful Victory Field, it is the AAA All-Star Game for 2001. This game has been a springboard for many Major League stars over the years. In fact, 43 have appeared in both the AAA and the Major League All-Star Games. Tonight at Indianapolis, future stars on display like Toby Hall, Sean Burroughs, and Adam Dunn next on ESPN2. Big ballpark in downtown Indianapolis, wind blowing in. Victory Field called one of the best parks in all of minor league baseball. It's the PCL and the IL, Pacific Coast and International Leagues, getting together tonight in the AAA All-Star Game. Bob Carpenter, Tom Gandiotti, and we welcome you to downtown Indy. And these guys, sometimes it seems like a small step to the big leagues. Sometimes it seems like you're miles away, but a chance for them tonight to show off a little bit.
It sure is. This is the next wave of future All-Stars for Major League Baseball. There's some tremendous amount of talent out there tonight, and this is their chance to showcase what they can do. So it'll be fun watching them tonight. And
we've got some offensive talent to watch on the diamond here in Indianapolis tonight. And some of these guys who've got great home run and RBI totals. And we start with Adam Dunn, who's doing a big job for Louisville right now, the Reds affiliate.
Oh, Adam Dunn has got everything going for him. He's a five-tool player. He's got power. Toby Hall, a triple crown threat. He's got a chance to make a lot of noise. And you look at the future first baseman for the New York Yankees and Nick Johnson. Nick Johnson can do it all. So a lot of talent right there.
And of course, some of these guys have roots in baseball that go way, way back. Remember the name Jeff Burroughs? Well, his son Sean made a splash a long time ago. 1993 Little League World Series, and his team was able to get it done. And years later, he would be a star in minor league baseball after those wonderful days. A Padre prospect, and he's hitting .332 for Portland right now.
Oh, Sean Burroughs, this kid's got it all. He can play third base, and a lot of these kids are just looking to get ready. Jack Cuss got tremendous amount of power, future Arizona Diamondback outfielder. And Juan Thomas looks like the big hurt. This guy is a great DH. He can hit with power, RBIs. A lot of talent here.
And we've got some pageantry for the AAA All-Star Game. The paratroopers are on their way in. First pitch straight ahead.
Excellence to our country. Ladies and gentlemen, Staff Sergeant Brad.
The AAA All-Star Game is brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, this Bud's for you. By Aramark, serving more than 15 million people at over 500,000 locations worldwide every day. And by SportsCenter. Which SportsCenter do you watch?
This ballpark seats 15,500. The city of Indianapolis has been very excited about this one since they were awarded the game about 2.5 years ago. It's the 5th anniversary of Victory Field that opened on July 11th, 1996. A lot of folks sitting on the grass out in the outfield. There's the scene here in Indianapolis, and we have Joe Castellano with us, who's the voice of the Rochester Ball Club in the International League, and Joe is with tonight's starter, Brandon Duckworth.
Well, Brandon Duckworth is 10-2 and leads the International League in strikeouts with 121 for the Phillies' top farm club, Scranton. And Brandon, starting the International League for the International League here, the AAA All-Star Game, what's been the key for your success?
I think going out and getting ahead in the count, being able to throw my pitches, behind in the count as well, off-speed pitches, and just letting my defense work. I think that's been the major key.
How much has your development in the last couple of years enhanced your standing with the Phillies organization?
I was kind of a borderline guy coming out and playing, and fortunately enough, I've been able to work hard and put up some good numbers and, really improve each and every year, and hopefully I can continue doing so and one day pitch in Philadelphia.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Okay, Brandon Duckworth, he'll throw the first pitch tonight. Back up to you guys.
Brandon Duckworth with a record of 10-2 and a very good 2.69 earned run average for Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Bud Smith, the St. Louis Cardinal prospect, 8-5 for the Memphis Ball Club, will start for the Pacific Coast League. Tony Pena is their manager. Some great years in the major leagues for Tony, and he's got a good lineup to put on the field tonight.
Hi, this is Tony Pena, manager of the PCL All-Star team, and this is my starting lineup.
TIKE REDMAN, I play center field. I play for Nashville Sounds.
Keith Ginter, second base, New Orleans Zephyrs.
Todd Betts, first base, Tacoma Rainiers.
Jack Cuss, right field, Tucson Sideliners.
Juan Thomas, DH, Tacoma Rainiers.
Mike Ulan, third base, Calgary Cannons.
Eric Burns, left field, Sacramento River Cats.
Ramon Castro, catcher, Calgary Cannons.
Ramon Vasquez, shortstop, Tacoma Rainiers. Hi, Mom.
Wes Smith. Tony Pena, one of the great characters in all of baseball. His 4th managerial season and his 3rd with the New Orleans Zephyrs. And of course, he had a long, wonderful major league career as a catcher. Played on a lot of championship teams. And he was a guy in his major league career who was just a winner.
I used to love watching Tony Pena catch. Remember how low he would get down, spread his leg out, he'd give the pitcher such a great target. And talk about baseball knowledge. No one knows the game better than Tony Pena.
Commissioner Bud Selig, Major League Commissioner Bud Selig, is here tonight. He's on the field currently addressing the great crowd here. Let's listen to Bud for a while.
All of you watched it. It was a remarkable evening for baseball. And as I walk in here tonight and look around, I have said to people that baseball is in the midst of an incredible renaissance. It's more popular than it's ever been, and your presence here tonight on this absolutely beautiful evening is proof of that. So I thank all of you, and we look forward to seeing an outstanding game. One of the things that is most critical is our relationship with the minor leagues. And as my friend Mike Moore knows, there have been times when the relationship hasn't been what it should be. It is now, I think you would agree, better than it's ever been, and it's a thing that I'm very proud of. And when I walk around this ballpark, I can see how important it is to the future of Major League Baseball. It's my privilege tonight to introduce a young man from the Indianapolis Boys and Girls Club. You know, Major League Baseball has a great relationship with the Boys and Girls Club all over America. They are our charity. We do an enormous amount of work in every city in America. And tonight, not only do I want to honor this youth, but the Boys and Girls Club of Indianapolis. This winner tonight is Jeffrey Stokes, a 2001 graduate of Arlington High School, who's been a member of the Boys and Girls Club since 1997. The oldest of 2 children in a supportive 2-parent household, his is a fortunate one. Whereas he and his family lived in public housing much of his early years, Jeffrey has avoided the temptation of drugs, violence, and the hopelessness by getting involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs and community service projects. He represented his former housing complex at the state level and coached at IPS 34, planted trees in his community, installed new doors and windows in homes for the elderly, disabled, and financially disadvantaged. Jeffrey won awards with the Federal Housing Communities, the Indianapolis Cusmaker 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Indianapolis. With all that he does for his community, he still makes his family a priority, spends quality time with his younger brother, and even works to help pay the family bills. He's just one of many of the exceptional members of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Indianapolis, the positive place for kids. Congratulations.
Well, it's great the relationship that Major League Baseball has with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And Bud Selig, honored to be here tonight, a busy man. Seattle last night with Cal Ripken and Tony Gwynn. Indianapolis with the AAA All-Stars tonight. Joe Castellano will be roaming around the ballpark all night long. And Joe, you're with one of our favorite guys, Tony Pena.
That's right, Bob. Tony, what's it like to manage a club like this that has so much power?
Well, we got a little bit of everything. I think we got a little bit of power, and also we have a little bit of speed. I think our pitching going to be the fact in this ball club, today. And we have some good pitchers, and hopefully we can come out on top.
After being an outstanding major league player, what's it like being a manager now?
Well, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different because as a player, you only have to watch yourself. As a manager, you have to watch 25 guys. But I think communication and trust have been one of those keys why that everybody can get along well.
There's always a lot of talk about how in the PCL the ball just flies out and maybe the numbers are inflated. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I've never been in international league. The only thing I can tell is a different ballpark, different dimension. I think the ballpark in the PCL are a little bit small, but they still have some great pitching over there in that league right now.
All right, Tony, thanks. Good luck tonight.
My pleasure.
All right, Tony Pena, back up to you guys.
Thank you, Joe. And most people say that regarding the parks out west, but the Pacific Coast League comes all the way to the Midwest now. We've got first pitch coming up shortly. This is the fourth consecutive year they've had the format where the Pacific Coast League takes on the International League, and the PCL has won the last two for a 2-1 series lead. 10 years before that, it was National League affiliates against American League affiliates. It's just amazing to me some of the beautiful new stadiums we have in the minor leagues, Tom. Far cry from when you were playing?
I think you're right. I mean, nowadays, even in the major leagues, you're seeing a slew of great brand new stadiums. Very aesthetically nice, and you look at this ballpark right here, and I can't imagine a better, nicer ballpark, especially in AAA.
Yeah, the consensus in this part of the country is Indianapolis and Memphis have the nice newest parks. Now, a few moments ago, a great major leaguer who knew a little bit about towing the rubber, Raleigh Fingers on to throw out one of the first pitches.
Raleigh Fingers, man, he had enough pitches, the forkball, the splitter, the fastball, World Series saves. It's great to see Raleigh at any time.
All right, Joe, take it away.
Well, Hall of Famer Raleigh Fingers here, and how much of a thrill is it to come back here to the minor leagues and throw out the ceremonial first pitch?
Well, it hasn't been too long since I've been in the minor leagues. My son's playing with Burlington, so I got to go see him play a little bit, but it's nice to be here at the All-Star Game. This is a great ballpark. They didn't have anything like this when I played.
You were telling me that you skipped AAA, but can you still appreciate what some of these guys are going through to get up there?
Yeah. It's very tough to get there, but I think the easiest thing is to get there. The hardest thing to do is stay in the big leagues. So there's always someone trying to take your job, but these guys are on their way up. They're all great ball players, or they wouldn't be here.
All right, thanks a lot, Raleigh. Okay. All right, Raleigh Fingers still has the handlebar mustache there. Back to Bob and Tom.
Thank you, Joe Castellano. On the mound, Brandon Duckworth, 10-2 with a 2.69 earned run average for the Phillies affiliate, Scranton Wilkes-Barre. And this guy has struck out 121 batters in 120 2/3.
Well, he really is a strikeout pitcher. He's just dwarfing everybody else in the league as far as getting punch outs. But like he said, he gets ahead in the count and he's able to finish guys off. Look for his big 12-6 curveball because it's one of the best in the minor leagues.
Defensively, the International League goes Adam Dunn, Chris Latham, Brian Lesher across the outfield. You folks will recognize the name of Kevin Ory, a former Cub, Eric Almonte, P.J. Forbes, who's a longtime minor leaguer, and Nick Johnson at first. Toby Hall, the catcher, who's doing a bang-up job for Durham. He is the only unanimous selection of any player in tonight's AAA All-Star game. TIKE REDMAN, center fielder from the Nashville Sounds, will step in. A player with great speed, 16 stolen bases, 9 triples. Keith Ginter and Todd Betts to follow here in the first inning. And the first one from Brandon Duckworth. He throws a fastball in the outside corner.
Well, just like Brandon Duckworth said, he loves to get ahead of the hitters. That way, it just expands the strike zone for him. When he gets ahead of the hitters, he's got a good chance of striking them out.
And for you folks who are wondering, there's your answer. Yes, we do have our dead center camera here at the AAA All-Star Game. It's a little breezy up there tonight. Wind is blowing in from the left field corner. This is a big ballpark. Pitchers have to love this place. It's 418 to the deep gap in left center field. And a breaking ball on an 0-2 pitch and a base hit to right field for TIKE REDMAN.
Well, TIKE REDMAN stayed with that pitch very well. And that's a sign of a really good leadoff hitter when you get behind an account and just try to make contact with the pitch. This is Brandon Duckworth's signature pitch, a big 12-6 curveball. And look at this swing. He keeps the bat through the zone for a long period of time, just trying to make contact.
Good speed there at first base. Redman has stolen 16 for Nashville. Keith Ginter of the Astros affiliate, New Orleans, stepping in. Home plate umpire David Ashwig tonight. Stu Robertson's at first, David Brandt at second, and Mike Fichter, who has seen some major league umpiring experience, is over at third base tonight. Ginter, a 10th round draft choice of the Astros 3 years ago. Fastball, inner half. And the count's even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, you look up and down these lineups, some awesome offensive numbers. Runner going, good pitch to run on, a breaking ball, and easily into second, TIKE Redman.
Boy, TIKE got a good jump right there. You could say as a leadoff hitter, he's got a lot of speed, picked a good pitch to go on. What a great first couple of steps of acceleration, and he's just looking at second base the whole way. Dangerous head first slide that we see more and more now, but running on a curveball, that's good timing.
1-2 pitch now, and a breaking ball punches out Ginter.
And again, Brandon Duckworth has gotten ahead twice now on both batters that he's faced, and he's gone right to his curveball. And right there, you saw that curveball break not only down but break across the plate. So that's a little different curveball than we've seen to TIKE Redman.
Next up will be Todd Betts, first baseman from Tacoma. This guy's been driving the ball well this year with those 10 home runs. He also has 28 doubles and that .331 batting average. Todd Betts originally a 1993 14th round choice by the Indians. One of those guys who's been plugging away for a lot of years, still looking for that first big league experience.
I tell you what, Bob, you have your prospects and you also have your guys that are just fighting for their life, trying to get back into the prospect label. Anything they can do to get in good signs with the organization, because you never know when that phone call might take place.
Some serious heat on that fastball, a little bit outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, also as we approach the trading deadline, a lot of the minor leaguers become very anxious of getting called up. Possible trades that happen for the big league club will open a spot for a lot of these guys.
A little bit low on the changeup. And the count goes to 2-1. At second base with 1 out, TIKE Redman of Nashville. He got a game-opening single on an 0-2 pitch, stole second base easily. Keith Ginter was called out on strikes. And now Betts, who's driven in 48 runs with an RBI chance. And Duckworth falls behind him. How about Brandon Duckworth this year? 121 strikeouts, 27 walks in his 121 innings.
Boy, those are impressive numbers. It's also impressive when you see the number of strikeouts, but even more impressive when you see the walks total being that low.
Now the count goes full, 3-2.
A lot of organizations like to look for the power pitchers nowadays. When you look at the numbers of Brandon Duckworth, and he shows not only that he has power, he has the ability to finish off hitters. A lot of pitchers can't do that, but he's got the ability to put them away.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Backdoor breaking ball, got him on the corner. And Brandon Duckworth gets 2 Ks looking with that big breaking pitch of his.
And that's a sign of maturity right here. You see a 3-2 breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. Maybe a little bit of a lenient call right there by the umpire, but still the confidence that Brandon Duckworth has to be able to throw that pitch on 3-2. That is that kind of pitch is going to get you to the big leagues real quick.
Jack Cust of Tucson. Serious power here. And he was looking first pitch fastball, and Duckworth blew it right by him.
You know, Bob, I was talking with Mark Shapiro today, the assistant general manager of the Cleveland Indians. And he likens a lot with Jack Cuss to Jim Thome of the Cleveland Indians. Huge power, very hard worker, will do whatever it takes to get to the big leagues. This kid is going to be something in the future.
Way deep in the box, a wide open stance, and he took ball one.
We were watching the home run contest yesterday that Jack was participating in, and I tell you what, he just didn't hit some of the balls over the fence. He was hitting the balls up by the scoreboard and out of the stadium. Tremendous power.
Better hitters parked to right field here at Victory Field. 320 down the lines. But in right center, it's a cozy 362 in front of that scoreboard. Now look at the sun on the batter's eye. The guys who play here all the time, like Mike Coolball, as well as Brian Lesher, tell us, until the sun covers the entire field, it's really tough to see the ball here for the first couple of innings.
Yes, and if the pitcher doesn't go through the first inning or two smoothly, he's going to be in trouble.
1-2 delivery and a high fastball. That'll even things up 2-2.
Early part of the game is a pitcher's time. He comes out, a lot of adrenaline, especially your hard-throwing pitchers have a chance to really put the hitters behind the 8 ball. And then when we've seen with Brandon Duckworth, he's got that huge curveball going in his favor, and this is going to be a very tough pitcher to try to get a gauge on.
A 2-2 delivery. Up and away, and the count goes full. We're a little lenient with some of the rules here in the AAA All-Star game, even if the back foot is out of the box.
Yeah, I used to watch signs of Roberto Clemente when I was a kid. He used to scratch that chalk out of there. Nowadays, it almost doesn't matter where you stand, if you're too close to the plate, or even your foot out of the box. Sometimes I don't know why they put lines out there.
He tried that 2-strike backdoor breaking ball, and this time missed with it. So Duckworth walks Jack Cuss with 2 outs, and runners at first and second here in the top of the first inning. And if you want to talk about a big man stepping into the batter's box, how about Juan Thomas of Tacoma? 18 home runs, 67 RBIs, 24 doubles. This guy is 6'4", 265.
He's the big hurt. He's back. When you look at the power numbers that he has, and just the way that he looks at the plate, the way he carries himself, you know this kid, if he gets his pitch, he's going to punish the ball.
With the Seattle affiliate now, originally drafted by the White Sox 10 years ago in the 10th round. And a fastball away, he couldn't catch up with it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, when you look at Juan Thomas and you see he's got a big swing, you know, this is a guy that looks like he'd be very susceptible to breaking balls. You know, he's definitely a cripple hitter. He wants a fastball. If you can locate that curveball, you should be able to handle him.
It's a wide strike zone early in the game. Strike 2 to Thomas, who has hit 167 minor league home runs.
Now that's doing a lot of damage.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Runner on second going. Pitch low. Throw to third. Safe. Gets away. Redmond trying to get up. He will. And he will score. TIKE Redmond stealing third. Coming home on an error. And the Pacific Coast League runs its way to a run here in the top of the first.
And that's usually not Pacific Coast League baseball. They like to slug it out. But he got a great jump at second base. A strong throw right there by the catcher. The third base was a little bit late getting over to cover right there. And so when he's running over there, the ball looks like it moves. And it's hard to catch sometimes when you're on a run.
Kevin Ory not able to get it. Jack Cuss is at second base now. And a count of 2-2 on Juan Thomas. And he strikes out. Duckworth strikes out the side. But a single, 2 steals, an error, and the Pacific Coast League gets 1. Pacific Coast League gets a base hit, couple of steals from TIKE Redmond, and an error to score a run in the top of the first inning. Bud Smith, the St. Louis Cardinals prospect for the Memphis Redbirds, will pitch against a power-laden International League lineup. Bill Evers is the Durham Bulls manager, and he's the head man of the International League here tonight.
Hi, I'm Bill Evers, manager of the International League All-Stars, and the starting lineup for tonight is
PJ Forbes, second baseman, Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons.
Nick Johnson, first baseman, Columbus Clippers.
Toby Hall, catcher, Durham Bulls.
Adam Dunn, left fielder, Louisville Riverbats.
Ryan Lesher, right field, Indianapolis Indians.
Calvin Pickering, DH, Rochester Red Wings.
Chris Latham, center field, Syracuse Sky Chiefs.
Kevin Rory, third base, Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons.
Eric Almonte, shortstop, Columbus Clippers.
Bud Smith, talented left-hander. The Cardinals love him. He was with St. Louis for a short time a couple of weeks ago. 8-5 with Memphis and a very good 2.75 earned run average.
Oh yeah, Bud Smith is one of the top prospects in baseball. Left-hander. Looks a lot like Tom Glavine with his physique and the way he pitches. Likes to get ahead of hitters. Likes to get him to hit his pitch on the ground.
And a lifetime minor leaguer, P.J. Forbes, is in there for strike one. We welcome to our booth Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig. You've had a busy week, sir, and it's great to have you here with us after last night's spectacle in Seattle.
Well, thank you, Bob and Tommy. I'm delighted to be here. It's been a long day, but just walking in here tonight re-energized me. I haven't been to this ballpark, and it is really spectacular. It's not like the minor league parks I remember. That's all I can tell you. Or that you probably remember.
I agree with you on that.
I'm interested in something you said to the crowd here, Bud. You said that it's in the process now and just about back. The relationship between Major League Baseball and the minor leagues. How is it better, and what did you mean by that?
Well, I tell you, when I first took over in '92 as the acting commissioner, Bob, the relationship was really a very stormy one. I don't know what happened. I heard from our side, and I heard from the National Association side, and of course there was so much anger there, and that we were always fighting. And one of the things I said to them right from the beginning is, look, that's silly. We're all in the same business. You need to help us. We need to help you. So we've really worked very hard. And now I guess they would say, and we would say, the relationship's never been better. I mean, it's just been great. And after all, I mean, baseball is baseball. And if we're doing well, they're doing well. And if they're doing well, we are certainly doing well.
Well, I certainly think, and being a former player, it looks like there's been so many steps that have been taken from baseball to try to improve itself, from division play, from scheduling, and I know there's a lot more that we don't even know about that you have to deal with, but I think everything's gone in a very positive direction.
Well, thank you, Tom. Look, I think I'm an old history major, and the clubs always kid me about, I always say to them in the retrospect to history, but the 1990s were the most active decade in terms of.
How about Ramon Vasquez with a good play on the backhand side?
Yeah, it was quite a play. We went to 3 divisions and a wild card, which a lot of people thought was controversy. Now today, you wonder what we would be, where we would be without it. Interleague play has worked out great. We've gone to the unbalanced schedule. We now have revenue sharing, even though we need more. We've cleaned up a lot of things with the umpires. We've changed the structure of the game, our relationship with the association. Now we have one more thing to really do, and that's our relationship with the Players Association, which I would say to you tonight is better than by far than it's ever been. You notice you don't hear, there's no anger expressed from either side, which is a first.
Right through Mike Goulin, and Toby Hall will reach with 2 outs here at the bottom of the first. Well, Bud, we certainly hope that continues to be the case. Best of luck in your quest to get the owners and the players together.
Thank you.
The way the game's going right now, we don't want any interruptions.
No, that's right, Bob. We don't. I mean, 94 and 5 were painful, but as I said to somebody last night, we've had 8 of these in my baseball career, and each one got worse, and you could see it all coming. And I really think we've righted the ship now, and now it's important for us to get it done, but deal with the disparity and some of the other problems, because they're there, they're real. Bob, I was in St. Louis, Tom, a couple of weeks ago, and the first question at the press conference on this new stadium deal was exciting was, what difference does it make if we don't change the system? And the question was a fair one. So we need to change the system. We need to do things meaningfully, but we need to do it quietly and quickly.
Bud, we know you're on a tight schedule. Thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you, Bob. Tom, thank you. Nice to see you.
You too.
Look at this blast from Adam Dunn. Way out of here. A fair ball after the 2-out error. And Adam Dunn, who's at 18 for Louisville, an ex-Texas quarterback, looks like he's a pretty good power hitter.
Well, they've said that this kid has got a lot of tools. He's got a lot of power. and it's only going to be a matter of time before he's donning the Cincinnati Reds uniform. So we're seeing a preview of things to come right here from Adam Dunn. Look at this swing right here. The ball is elevated, but look how he gets some lift on that ball. Watch the bat speed right there. It goes up. He uppercuts that ball, and anytime you see a hitter do that, the ball is going to get elevated. It's going to go a long ways.
So the 2-out error hurts. Each team has made an error, and every run in this game is unearned so far. Bud Smith on an 0-1 pitch gets a foul ball from Brian Lesher, a local favorite, who's a right fielder for the Indianapolis Indians. 7 home runs and 57 batted in for him. And a right-handed batter does not necessarily have any kind of home field advantage here. Brian told me on nights when the wind's blowing like tonight, you need maybe a tailor-made or a Titleist driver to get the ball out of this place.
You need that Pro V1 to sail over the fence, but it definitely is this park is definitely made for a left-handed hitter. The right-handed hitters, there's a great fastball right there. Just nailed the inside corner.
So Bud Smith gives up 1 hit, 2 unearned runs, and some first-inning fireworks at the AAA All-Star Game.
2-1 International League as we go to the second inning, and Sean Burrows with us for the Pacific Coast League and a Padres farmhand. And Sean, you had some great experiences winning the Little League World Series and winning Olympic gold. Talk about, has that helped you? What does it do for your career and for what you've learned as a player?
Yeah, I've been fortunate to play on some teams that have been able to win some ball games with some great players. I mean, last year was the biggest accomplishment of my baseball career to date, and I've just been fortunate enough to play with the greatest guys and have a good time.
You're hitting .332. It's only your 3rd year as a pro. How close do you feel you are to becoming a Padre?
I don't know. I mean, I feel I'm pretty close. It's just I got to get more at-bats, more games at the minor league level, and start driving the ball a little more and just play consistent defense. I mean, it's not up to me to tell you when I'm going to be up there. It's just up to the guys upstairs and how I do down here. So I just keep playing hard every day.
All right, Sean. Thanks and good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Sean Burrows, back upstairs.
Sean Burrows will not be 21 years old for another 2 months, so he's got time to work with. Mike Goulin of Calgary, and a swing and a miss on a Brandon Duckworth heater, and the count's 1-2 to the leadoff man here at the top of the second. Mike Goulin, a longtime Cardinal prospect, got 5 games with the Redbirds back in '97. He gets jammed and fouls one away.
I met Sean Burrows back in 1993 at a charity event. Just came back from winning the Little League World Series, and I saw this big, chubby little kid, and I went down to reintroduce myself yesterday, and I said, "Wow, what happened to you? Used to be a great pitcher, and now all of a sudden you're this great hitter. What's the deal?"
Out of play to the right side. Well, all pitchers think they can hit for the most part. Sean Burrows certainly able to do that. We will see him later in this game. He, of course, not in the starting lineup, but he will get a couple of ABs tonight. A big, strong left-handed batter.
Well, that shows you all those great athletes were pitchers at one time, right?
That's right. Mike Goulin, 17 homers, 70 runs batted in, 29 doubles. And he says playing north of the border in Calgary, how the weather goes is how your batting average goes. On good days, it's a great place to hit. As you would expect, it's a little chilly up there in the early months of the season. We've got a maple leaf from Canada represented here tonight. They did the Canadian national anthem in honor of the Calgary Ball Club. Edmonton represented here as well. And a swing and a miss on a high fastball. Brandon Duckworth has fanned all 4 men he has retired so far.
Most of them have been on a curveball, but look at this one right here, a high fastball, and that is a perfect complement to a 12-6 curveball. He elevates the ball up. Hitter's not sure if the breaking ball's coming. Hard to catch up with a high heater like that.
And from our dead center camera, that thing really appears to have a rise on it. Next up, the Sacramento right fielder, Eric Burns. Right up the road from their big club in Oakland. There's that breaking pitch. It's low and quickly 2 balls, no strikes.
when you look at a player like Eric Burns and you look at the Oakland Athletics, their season's a little bit in the flux right now. They're not sure if they're going to get into the pennant race, and if they're not, people like Johnny Damon could go, and that will open the door at Eric Burns. These kids are right on the cusp, and you just never know. Johnny Damon, of course, his batting average isn't quite as high this year. He's been a second-half player. But you look at Eric Burns, he can hit the ball out of the park. He's not a bad RBI guy, and he's a really good on-base percentage guy, and it fits right into the Oakland plans.
And Eric Burns, if you want to really compare him to Johnny Damon, has some speed as well. 13 stolen bases. 3 balls and a strike. Hits it out to right center. Looking to plug the gap, but Chris Latham is over there to cover the ground. Latham roams center field for Syracuse, and he got there in plenty of time.
When you look at Chris Latham, he got a good jump on that ball, and he'll be donning that Toronto Blue Jay uniform. As we speak, he'll be up in Toronto, so that's a good call up for Chris Latham. Look at the jump right there. It's a tough field. He sees shade and sun, but he tracked that ball very nicely. Center fielders that get good jumps are so valuable to a baseball club.
Here's another one of those Calgary cannons. It's catcher Ramon Castro.
And I tell you what, if you are the Philadelphia Phillies, you have to love what you're seeing from Brandon Duckworth thus far.
Serious velocity on that outside corner. Quickly 0-2.
He's pitching very well. He's not only pitching inside, he's pitching outside. And we saw as he struck out Mike Gulen, he's also elevating the ball, so he's going north and south too.
A little tardy is that swing. In 2 innings, 5 strikeouts. In the middle of the second, it's the International League 2-1. Hey, Mom, take me to the All-Star game. A lot of kids in Indianapolis able to enjoy this one the night after the Big League All-Star game in Seattle. Beautiful night here in Indy. 71 degrees at game time. It was about 25 degrees hotter than that here yesterday. That International League dugout lacking one significant player. Izzy Alcantara, the Red Sox prospect, and here's why. Brush back, gives it to the catcher, charges the mound last week. And this brawl that took place is the reason he's not here, Tom.
You're right. You see Kevin Ory tackle him right there. And I talked to Kevin Ory about that brawl. And he said, geez, if I had known I would have got on Sports Center with that, I would have tackled him better than that. But that almost had to be premeditated. Anytime you think that you can go out and just karate kick the catcher first and then charge the mound, that's you've had to have thought that over in your mind a few times.
Kevin Ory will bat third in this inning, and there's a shot to the left side. Vasquez, another great play. Is it in time? Yes, at first base. And Calvin Pickering, the Rochester DH, is retired. Second outstanding play by Ramon Vasquez.
Wow. That ball right there was hit very sharply in the hole. But the problem was with Calvin Pickering, he's not the fastest guy on the team. But I tell you what, not only did he make that play, but he threw it from his knees. Watch the way he throws the ball. He's not set. He does all he can to catch the ball. And from his knees, with his momentum going to left field, he's still got enough on that ball to get Pickering out of first base.
Next up, Chris Latham, the Syracuse center fielder. And this guy has really been a package for the Chiefs this year. Batting around 280. Good home run total. Lots of RBIs. 14 stolen bases and 20 doubles.
He can do a lot of things to help the club. And don't be fooled by the averages from the guys from the International League, because those averages are going to be down. As we talked before, the Pacific Coast League is more of a hitter's league. In the International League, pitchers are going to dominate, so you're not going to see as high a batting average.
Bud Smith with a fastball in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bud Smith gave up a homer in the first to Adam Dunn, but in his defense, a 2-out error was the only reason Adam Dunn was batting. And there's a fastball for a called third strike, and Bud Smith has struck out 3.
Bud Smith is a pitcher that knows his limitations. He likes to pitch in, out. and you look at the catcher set up inside, look at the glove, look at right there, right where that ball hits the glove, right on the money. That's picking up your target and executing the pitch, and that's what's going to make that young man successful.
Here's Kevin Ory hitting .288 for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, the Phillies AAA. Kevin, of course, has had major league experience with the Cubs. And I asked him earlier today, how do you handle it when you're the third baseman for the Phillies and a guy named Scott Rowland is up in Philadelphia playing third base and will probably be there barring injury for a long, long time? And Kevin said, you know, there are some things that are out of your control. You just can't worry about them. Playing the game is hard enough without having to be a part-time general manager at the same time.
And I think a lot of players, including Kevin Ory, understand that you're not only playing to ground ball to second base, you're not only playing for yourself, but you're playing for a lot of other organizations.
A 1-2-3 second for Bud Smith, 4 in a row for him. 2-1 Internationals after 2.
The AAA All-Star Game is brought to you by Aramark, serving more than 15 million people at over 500,000 locations worldwide every day. By Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, this Bud's for you. And by Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond, weeknights at 8, only on ESPN Classic.
AAA All-Star Game, beautiful Victory Field in Indianapolis. A ballpark that seats 15,500 with an open view of the state capitol just beyond center field and the beautiful Indianapolis skyline. This is Rafael Roque from the Pawtucket Red Sox, a starter there who's had a very good season so far, 6-4 with a 3.15.
Yeah, he's a control type pitcher, not overpowering. He needs to hit his spots and he likes to sink it. So if he can get the hitters to start hitting some ground balls, you know he's right on his stuff.
Sunday night, Interleague Baseball continues on ESPN. You saw him last night. Ichiro and the Mariners will host Luis Gonzalez, the home run contest champ, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel on ESPN every Sunday at 8. And if you can't get to a TV, ESPN Radio has nationwide coverage. Check local listings for a station in your area. Log on to ESPN.com 24/7 for the latest on Major League Baseball. Tacoma shortstop Ramon Vasquez, who's made a couple of good plays, and he lines out to P.J. Forbes. Yeah, good luck to all AAA prospects at Tacoma right now, the way the big club is playing, huh?
That's right, but one positive about that, if you're in the minor leagues with the Seattle Mariners, is that you've heard Pat Gillett talk about possibly getting a #1 starter. You've heard him possibly trying to add a third baseman. Well, the minor leaguers are the guys that are going to be able to bring a prospect or a major league star to fill that position. So you just never know, and all you can do is just keep playing as hard as you can.
Back up to the top of the order, TIKE REDMAN, who manufactured a run for the PCL back in the first. Tough matchup for him here against the left-hander Roque. He gets jammed and bounces one down to first. Nick Johnson will do it alone for the unassisted out. So, Tom, what you're telling me is the ultimate rotisserie guys in the country are AAA ball players. They know everything that's going on as far as transactions.
And they're the ones that are so tuned in for all these potential trades that are being mentioned, especially as the July 31st trading deadline gets nearer and nearer. So all these guys could find themselves in the big leagues with a team like Tampa Bay or one of the teams that are out of the races.
Keith Ginter called on strikes first time up. New Orleans Zephyrs, we were there in their new ballpark 2 years ago for the AAA All-Star Game. Former Texas League Most Valuable Player at Round Rock when he hit 26 homers and drove in 92 runs last year. Astros gave him a 5-game cup of coffee late for 8 at-bats, and he hit his first major league home run during that time. A high towering fly ball out to center for Chris Latham, and a very quick 1-2-3 third inning on 6 pitches for the Red Sox prospect Rafael Roque. Great night in Indy. 2-1 IL.
Joe Castellano here, International League up 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the third. And Brandon Duckworth, 2 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 run, but it was unearned. Are you pleased with that?
Oh, very pleased. You know, it's just a pleasure to be out there and be nominated to be here. And it was a lot of fun. I was a little nervous at first, but you know, I shook it off after the first guy, and I was fine out there.
Congratulations on being the starter, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, back upstairs.
Brandon Duckworth, easy to see why he is 10-2 for Scranton Wilkes-Barre this year. From the Iowa Cubs, right-hander Ruben Quevedo.
And Ruben Quevedo, again, another power pitcher. He's got a power arm, and the Chicago Cubs are anxiously watching his development. You never know, and these are the guys that can make such a big difference in the pennant race if one of the pitchers goes down. He's got the stuff.
Facing Eric Almonte, the Columbus shortstop, who fouls one off to the right side. And of course, the Cubs pitching at the major league level, outstanding so far this year.
You know, you look at some of the former trades that have transpired right before the trading deadline. The one that comes to mind was when the Yankees acquired Chuck Knobloch. And who did the Twins get? They got Eric Milton. So these are the guys that are in that same position that all of a sudden, hey, they might find themselves with another team and maybe even a contender in a year or two down the road.
Well, thank you, girls. They worked hard on that one. Great hospitality by the folks here in Indianapolis. A lot of great activities for the players. They went over to the Motor Speedway last night and watched the big boys play in the All-Star game. It's the one thing about the AAA All-Star games we've covered here on ESPN2 over the years. The host cities, places the last 4 years like Norfolk and New Orleans, last year Rochester, and now Indianapolis, they've been wonderful to the players. It's been a great experience for these guys. 1-2 to Eric Almonte. Takes that fastball the other way, over to cover it, Keith Ginter. And the New Orleans second baseman throws out Almonte for the first out here, bottom of the third. The offensives gotten a little quiet since that early hot stuff. And P.J. Forbes, who's one of the most interesting minor leaguers you'll ever talk to, steps in. P.J. is out of Pittsburgh, Kansas, and he played on ESPN way back in the late 80s at Wichita State with guys like Mike Lansing, Pat Mears, Mike McDonald, Eric Wedge. Hits it out to short. Vasquez throws him out. But I was talking at length with P.J. earlier, and in something like 11 years now as a professional player, he has experienced 31 days of Major League Baseball. And he wouldn't trade the experience for anything in the world. You look at a guy like P.J. Forbes, it's what minor league baseball is all about.
Yeah, perseverance. You got to admire that in a kid. Whatever it takes to get to the big leagues, they're willing to go through. The price to pay.
Yeah, 30 years of age, and he is nowhere near ready to hang it up yet. Columbus first baseman Nick Johnson is next. Robbed by Vasquez of a hit first time up. And these pitchers are mowing right through the lineups now. There's a little flare out behind short. Vasquez is there. And a 7-pitch inning after Roque only threw a half dozen in the top of the third. 2-1 Internationals after 3.
Good thing we didn't get any stories there.
Top of the fourth inning of the AAA All-Star game here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And a 2-1 lead for the International League. And a new pitcher from the Toledo Mud Hens, starter right-hander Mark Johnson, after a 1-2-3 third by Rafael Roque of Pawtucket.
Mark Johnson, right-handed pitcher, likes to work on both sides of the plate. And again, you're seeing a guy that has great control. You look at their walk to strikeout ratios. When you see the walks that are very low, these are very efficient pitchers. And Mark Johnson is definitely demonstrating that so far this season.
Mark Johnson had some time with the Tigers last year. An 0-1 record in 9 games, 3 of them starts. Todd Betts for the Pacific Coast League here in the top of the fourth. And a strike. Pitchers looking about as good as the big boys did in the Major League All-Star game last night. Pitching does tend to dominate in these games. The sun has finally gone down behind the grandstand behind us. So the batters have a nice dark batter's eye out in center field to look at now. There's a look back over the hill in the left field corner. And a 1-1 pitch hit high in the air, deep to right center. Latham going back, a lot of room out there, and he's got it for the first out. It was sizzling in Indy yesterday, but just for us, a little cool front came through. 71 at game time, now down to 68. And a breeze blowing from the left field corner to the right field corner. I like that forecast too. There's the RCA Dome in the distance where the Indianapolis Colts play. ESPN has been in there for college basketball and football in years past. And a pitch low and inside to Jack Cust, the Tucson right fielder who walked his first time up.
You know, I have a funny little story about Jack Cust. He introduced himself to me yesterday at the batting cage.
I like this one.
And he ended up telling me that a couple years ago in spring training, he hit a home run off me. And he goes, I couldn't believe it. You threw me a fastball. He goes, I was so excited. I got home. I called my dad that this was the biggest thrill in my professional baseball career thus far. And I just, Jack, thank you very much. But I'm sure in the next 10 years, you're going to have so many home runs. I hope you forget about that one.
Folks, I hope for the sake of Jack Cust, a spring training homer off Candiotti is not the highlight of his professional career. He hits one off the pitcher, and Jack will have a base hit, and he's aboard for the second time. Great story, though.
And that's why I've been pumping up his power for the last 3 innings.
What was the miles per hour on that fastball you threw him, by the way?
On a good day, it might have got about 77, 78, so maybe he thought it was a straight change.
But 78 with movement, Tom, that's what you're looking for, right?
Well, the problem was it probably didn't have too much movement.
Tom Candiotti alongside tonight. I'm Bob Carpenter here in Indy. Juan Thomas, the DH, steps in. And Tom Candiotti, folks, he claims there is a conspiracy against letting knuckleball pitchers into all-star games because nobody wants to catch them. There's a drive to straightaway center. Latham going back. It is gone. A monster shot about 420 feet to dead center field, and the Pacific Coast League breaks on top 3-2. There are no cheap homers in this ballpark in that part of the field.
Juan Thomas got a pitch that he could drive, and believe me, this is a big stadium. He hit that ball out of center field like it was absolutely nothing, and that's why he's getting the nickname of the Big Hurt. Because look at the size of this guy. He's got the arms, he's got the body. If he gets his pitch, he can hit a ball about as far as anybody.
3-2 PCL. Mike Goulin steps in and swings and misses. And Goulin, a man who's driven in 70 runs. Juan Thomas 67 for the Tacoma Rainiers. Low and outside, and the count's even 1-1. Well, the big boys are hitting homers tonight. Thomas goes 265. Adam Dunn at 235, a long one earlier for the International League. And P.J. Forbes throws out Mike Goulin for the second out here in the fourth inning.
And that's different. That's a signature swing from a Pacific Coast League All-Star. They love those little parks here. They got here yesterday for the home run hitting contest. They go, wow, this is a big stadium, man. I got to turn around and hit left-handed. But Juan Thomas got the pitch he could drive right there, and he's a happy man.
Next up, Eric Burns of Sacramento. Low and away to him.
Eric Burns got here on a red-eye flight. I'm telling you, it almost took him about 9 hours to get here from Sacramento. And I talked to him yesterday, and I said, well, you're such good friends with Jason Giambi. Why didn't Jason just kind of tighten you up with a flexi jet or something to get you here, and so you're nice and loose? And he goes, I don't know, I got to talk to my guy about that.
Yeah, had Jason won the home run hitting contest, as he should have, he might have done that. Eric Burns pops out, P.J. Forbes grabbing it, and we've played 3.5. Juan Thomas, a monster shot, straightaway center. Pacific Coast League on top, 3-2. Well, the NCAA is calling Indianapolis home after a lot of years elsewhere. A wonderful, beautiful new facility here. And all of us at ESPN are very proud of the fact that we have extended our agreement with the NCAA for the entire women's basketball tournament. Women's college basketball has become such a wonderful sport in our country now. 21 NCAA championships we'll be bringing you for the next several years. And all of us at ESPN and ESPN2 are very proud of that. Hats off to the NCAA. They're good neighbors to the Indians right here in downtown Indianapolis. We go to the bottom of the fourth, and into the ball game will be Luis Figueroa, the Nashville infielder, to play second base for the Pacific Coast League. And he will replace Keith Ginter of New Orleans. And we go bottom fourth. Toby Hall of the Durham Bulls. He reached on the error by Mike Goulin first time up and then scored on the Adam Dunn home run.
With Toby Hall is just knocking on the door for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. This kid's got a chance to win the Triple Crown Award this year. That's the kind of season he's having thus far.
A little bit outside from Ruben Cavedo of the Iowa Cubs, who worked a 1-2-3 third. 1 ball and 1 strike to Toby Hall. Out to short, deep short. Vasquez again. He may have already wrapped up the Defensive Player of the Game award.
With 2 stellar defensive plays. Look at the swing, a long swing right there by Toby Hall. He's out on his front foot, but he plants right there and makes a strong throw. We've seen him throw hard from his knees. Now we saw him plant and then execute a strong throw to first base. This kid's got a very good arm, Bob.
1 put out, 4 assists, and 3 of them very good ones by Vasquez so far. And the pitch is upstairs to Adam Dunn. Adam Dunn, a 2-run bomb first time up. And that one is worth another look, isn't it?
It sure is. And look at the power of this kid. Oh, did he know that? He got an elevated fastball. And not only did he hit the ball out of the park, it was going out of the stadium.
Adam Dunn, 6'6", 235 from Houston. A former quarterback in Austin for the Longhorns. 18 homers and 49 RBIs for the River Bats this year. He jacks another one. See you later into the right center field bleachers. 2 homers, 3 RBIs, and the International League gets back even here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Well, I think now we've seen our offensive player of the game also. Only a matter of time before Adam Dunn is putting on that Cincinnati Reds uniform. Power packed. He's showing his talents right here. Look at his stance, open stance a la Luis Gonzalez. An outside fastball out of the zone. And he was still able to extend his arms and drive that ball over the 405-foot side out deep center field.
Here's Brian Lesher. Local product gets a big hand. He was called out on strikes first time. And Adam Dunn, well, counting his 2 here tonight, 20 home runs on the year. Now a little flare out into left center. Rushing on Eric Burns, and he gets there to make the running catch. 2 outs here in the 4th. Well, Bill Evers is with us tonight, the Durham manager. And Bill, welcome to ESPN2. Thanks for joining us live from the dugout tonight.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here, and Mr. Dunn's putting on quite an exhibition.
Yes, he has. He's hit about 800 feet in home runs. Hey, Bill, what's the most important thing you do when you manage a squad like this in an all-star game setting?
Well, basically, you try to make sure that everybody gets in the game, but with the pitching staff, you make sure that if a guy is pitched the day before, that he's okay to pitch in the game, and you don't want guys overextending themselves because they still got a second half of the season to play.
Hey, Bill, when you see a lot of these pitchers, what are they trying to showcase out here? Are they just trying to show everything they've got, or are they actually trying to, do you go over scouting reports before the game starts on some of the hitters?
Well, I don't know any of the PCL hitters. Some of the guys have played in the PCL, so they kind of help out the pitchers. But basically, the pitchers pitch with what they have and what got them here, and basically just try to get outs. And with the adrenaline flowing, sometimes they try to overthrow, and the ball gets elevated in the zone a little bit, and that's what might cause the ball to leave the yard once in a while.
1 ball and 2 strikes and a swing and a foul. Bill, of course, you're affiliated in Durham with the Devil Rays. How different has it been with an expansion type team like the Devil Rays as it would be maybe managing at AAA for a longer term major league club?
Well, I've been in Durham for 4 years, so I've seen the growth of the player development situation. And early on our first and second year, we had a lot of 6-year free agents, and now our younger kids that we've drafted are finally starting to make their way to AAA, and some are getting to the big leagues. So we've come a long way in 4 years.
Hey, Bill, we'll visit with you later. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
Bottom of the 4th inning, Adam Dunn goes deep again, and after 4, a home run show in Indy. We're tied 3-3. This is Brian Nelson, who won a skills contest yesterday here in Indianapolis. And if he can throw a high strike through that board at home, he will win $100,000. No pressure here, Tom.
Oh, that is pressure. Got to tell him to land with a straight front leg so he can elevate that ball up in the zone. Now this is pressure.
National TV, and it's a little high and inside.
Brian has 2 more throws. If he gets the next 2, he'll win $10,000. Brian,
He's got a chance to win $10,000 if he puts the next 2 through there. Close.
Brian just a little low, but a good effort.
He's locating.
One more chance. He can still win.
See him take the big deep sigh.
Brian, let her fly. This is your last pitch.
And this one for $1,000. Oh! He got it. How about that? Well, Brian Nelson, maybe not as wealthy as he had hoped at the end of the night, but $1,000. Hey, we're going to talk later to Brian Nelson. How about that? A $1,000 strike. Way to go, big fella. We hope your eligibility is okay sometime down the road. Top of the 5th inning coming up momentarily here at the AAA All-Star Game in Indianapolis, Indiana. Well, we've seen some pretty decent pitches here tonight at beautiful Victory Field in Indianapolis, but the best one a moment ago, Brian Nelson. Now, Joe Castellano, don't be trying to sugarcoat it. He's not taking you out to dinner after this game.
I want some pitching tips here. Wait, do you have some pitching background to be able to come through like that?
No, not really. I just was here yesterday for the home run derby, and I got the lucky ticket. I don't know how I beat the rest of the guys because they were massive, but I did. So.
When did you start thinking about how you're going to spend the $100,000 now, the $1,000, right?
Last night I was thinking about $100,000. Like, oh, shoot, $1,000's better than nothing. That's all. That's
all right. Well, congratulations, Brian. Okay, back up to Bob and Tom.
Well, what a great throw that was. That's a lot of fun for Brian Nelson here in Indianapolis. Boy, we were rooting for him so hard after missing those first 2. Mom and Dad like it. I mean, how often does your kid get on a professional ball field, much less walk away with a big check like that?
And not only that, but in front of all these people trying to root him on. That's pressure.
That's outstanding. He's getting a great hand as he goes through the crowd, and we're ready for the top of the 5th inning. We're also ready for Sunday Night Baseball. How about this? An extra one for you on ESPN2 this week. All-Star Phil Nevin and the Padres will battle Troy Glosson All-Star in state rival Anaheim. Interleague Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel on ESPN2 for the next couple of weeks at 8 Eastern. And if you can't get to a TV, we've got nationwide coverage on ESPN Radio. Check your local listings. Log on to ESPN.com for more on Major League Baseball. Brett Jody, a starter for the Columbus Clippers.
New York Yankees farmhand Brett Jody has very good numbers, but what he does is when you watch his delivery, his front leg is going to be very stiff. So he's going to have a tough time getting the ball down in the zone. He's a pitcher that pitches up north, up top, so he's going to get a lot of fly balls.
Brett Jody, 6'4", 208, 6th-round draft choice 3 years ago by the Yankees. Straight over the top, and straight up goes the pop-up in front of the mound. Toby Hall is there, and he drops it. And safe at first will be Ramon Castro. Toby Hall of Durham unable to grab that one on what looked like a routine play.
Yeah, that was an awful high pop-up out in front of the plate. Not a very easy catch for a catcher. He got himself in position. He turned correctly, but he just didn't quite focus on the ball enough as he was moving a little bit. He might have been waiting for either the third baseman or the first baseman to call him off.
His second error of the game. A run in the first inning on a throwing error as TIKE REDMAN stole third. And now the PCL with its leadoff man aboard. Second time in 5 innings, and Ramon Vasquez the batter. A little bit outside with the overhand fastball from Brett Jody. Jody scheduled to pitch 1 inning. Then Roy Smith, Oscar Enriquez, Matt DeWitt. The International League has a couple pitchers more in their bullpen than does the PCL tonight. Fastball high in the strike zone outside corner, says David Ashweek, the home plate umpire. Bill Evers, you looking for a double play ball here?
Well, we're looking for the ground ball. Hopefully, he can put it in the lane to second, and we can turn it 4-6-3.
1 ball, 1 strike to Ramon Vasquez. Runner going to stay out of the double play, and that's a foul tip. Bill, how much strategy, like starting runners and defensive sort of positioning, can you incorporate into a quick little contest like this?
Well, basically, the only thing we've done is put in a hold sign for the runners not to run, and we put in a steal sign. But obviously, Tony's got the hit and run action going on, and he's trying to do everything over there.
Well, those catchers are like that, you know.
Yeah, I'm a former catcher too, so, you know.
Most managers are, it seems. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Vasquez. Runner with a short leadoff. He's holding.
Oh.
And it stays up and away, ball 2.
Hi, Brett.
You know, when you watch Brett Jody out on the mound out there, it's very interesting that when he comes set, he's actually looking out to the center fielder first. Not too many right-handed pitchers do that. Usually they come set and they want to look over to the first baseman, look over their left shoulder. Well, watch when he comes set, he's almost looking out to second base. Very, very unusual.
Hey, far enough. Come on.
Hey, Bill, I was looking at the standings here, and you guys are 11.5 games behind Norfolk. They're really not represented here by that much from an individual standpoint. What makes that ball club so good in the Southern Division of the International League?
Well, collectively, they've played well together, and they have some veteran-type players there that like to go out and play, and they play well together. So we have our hands full, and I don't think in the realm to catch him, but I think we're still in the hunt for the wild card, so that's what we're shooting for.
Durham a half game behind Charlotte. That must be quite a rivalry you've got down there between Charlotte and your ball club. You guys aren't that far apart.
Yeah, it's quite a. We make a lot of trips there, and they come our place. We normally don't play them more than 2 games in a row because we're so close to one another. But yeah, it's been a good rivalry. We've battled them in the playoffs, I believe, the last couple of years. So we go at it pretty good.
And the Richmond Ball Club, the Braves affiliate, 14 games back of Norfolk. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Runner going, and another foul as Ramon Vasquez continues to hang tough.
Hey, Bill, you've managed from the AAA level, the AA level, the single A level. What's the big difference between the levels as far as the view from a manager's position?
Well, I believe the AA level, when you get promoted from A to AA, and AA is where it separates the boys from the men that can make the jump to AAA into the big leagues. AA, you'll find a lot harder throwers and guys that are quote the prospects and everything, but that's the big deal. Big difference for me. The AA player that does well can make the jump to AAA and get to the big leagues.
8-pitch walk by Jody to Vasquez. Hey, Bill, we've got to ask you, ever since years ago when the movie Bull Durham came out, has there been more of a mystique around your ball club that people just come to your ballpark to sort of soak it all in after that movie portrayed your city and your club the way it did?
Well, I think it certainly helped in the attendance, but we have a new ballpark. The old ballpark's still downtown, but we have a brand new park that's, I believe, 5 years old, and the fans really come out and support us and are very, they love coming to the park because it's a brand new facility and it's pretty much We got a man there. See the ball.
Uh-oh. Ball was misjudged by Chris Latham. Where will the runners end up? Lead runner trying to score. P.J. Forbes to home. Safe there. And the batter, TIKE REDMAN, ends up at second. Castro coming around to score. Vasquez had to hold up behind him. And that ball got over the head of Chris Latham, who thought he had a beat on it. And suddenly he realized, like his manager did, oh no.
Yeah. Well, this is the second time we've seen a fielder misjudge or have trouble with the ball up in the air this time of night. He didn't quite pick that ball up, and it looked like it was going to be an easy out. And he tried to recover, but he just doesn't quite have enough speed to go back and get that ball.
I think it's a little tough right now with the dusk and, you know, picking up the ball off the bat. So he had some trouble, and Toby had some trouble with his pop-up. Yeah, it's definitely that twilight time. The sky is a lot brighter behind us than it is to the northeast out in center field. There's a first pitch pop-up by Figueroa in his first at bat, and Nick Johnson is there to grab it for what is the first out and realistically should be the third out. When you consider the pop-up that was dropped, the fly ball over the head of Chris Latham for an RBI double, and now Todd Betts will check in.
You look at Brett Jody, he's throwing the ball awful well. Like you said, he should have been out of this inning.
Yep.
And he didn't have any, not getting any help from his defense, and that really hurts a pitcher. Anytime you give a club 4 or 5 outs, usually they're going to do some damage.
Todd Betts 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a fly ball. Bill Evers pulling his defense in here. A 4-3 lead for the Pacific Coast League in the top of the 5th inning. One-0 pitch. And a breaking ball drops in. So, Bill, what's the key thing for your defense right here in this situation?
Well, we need to get a little pop-up to the infield or a strikeout or hopefully a weak ground ball. If he had thrown ball 2, I probably would have put him on, set up a double play, but here we're going to let Brett pitch out of this.
Yeah, and that's with a tough left-handed batter, Jack Cust, on deck. 1 ball, 1 strike. That ball will hook. Foul.
You got to talk to it.
You got to.
Hey, sometimes those balls listen to you.
Well, you've got a good look down the first baseline. You must have known.
I don't have that good a look, but I was just praying it went foul.
1 ball and 2 strikes now. The count to Todd Betts. We kept waiting for it to hook, and it just sort of stayed straight. And we're looking at the replay, Bill. You got your foul ball by maybe 1.5 foot there.
That's all it takes.
Now you could use the strikeout.
And now we're probably going to see a breaking ball, I would think.
If you strike him out, would you walk Cust the pitch to the right-hander Thomas?
I don't believe so. He hit that ball a long way to center field last time up.
That he did.
Yep.
1 ball and 2 strikes the count. You're going to jam him here.
Ooh.
It's a fastball just off the plate. And Todd Betts was leaning out over the dish, and that one was close.
Well, he executed that pitch very well. Catcher set up inside, nailed the target right there, and obviously an umpire could give you the call right there. Obviously fooled the batter, but he just nailed the catcher, executed the pitch.
Your boy Toby Hall did a nice job of framing that one. Here's a 2-2 pitch. There's that breaking ball and a line drive to center for a hit in front of Latham. Vasquez has scored. REDMAN coming home. Plate is blocked, and he is out. Toby Hall, the Durham Bull, blocks the plate, and a big second out with a run in. Now it's 5-3 PCL.
Well, that was really a great play by Toby Hall. That was not an easy pitch to handle. Chris Latham handles it very nicely. 1 hop right to the catcher, but watch where the ball bounces. Barry has to almost short hop it and come up cleanly with that and tag the runner. So that was a very difficult play. You're watching from a future All-Star right there from Toby Hall.
Left-hander Jack Cust will step in. Hey, Bill, we've seen a little bit of everything in this game so far.
Yeah, we sure have, and we still have half a game to play, so it's going to be exciting. Hopefully we can get the bats going and come back from this.
Hey, we'll check in with you later, Bill. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
That's Bill Evers, the Durham Bulls manager, who's managing the International League All-Stars. Jack Cust, perfect night, a walk, a single, and a run And it's up and away, ball one.
I thought we had a little chance to see a Ray Fosse-Pete Rose confrontation right there at the plate.
Well, I'm sure if Ray's watching out in the Bay Area, he might have been flinching there a little bit. Ray, of course, a longtime Oakland Athletics broadcaster now. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Of course, I don't think all-star games are played the way they used to be played when it meant to win the game and do whatever it took to win. Now it's more of a showcase of talent. Watch guys pitch, watch guys hit the ball out of the park. And above all else, let's not get injured.
1-1 to Jack Cust. And a big looping cut on that overhand heater by Brett Jody, and the count goes to 1-2 with 2 outs here in the 5th. We've had a couple of home runs by the International League's Adam Dunn. Juan Thomas, who's on deck, has gone deep tonight. Yeah, we waved goodbye to a couple of balls here tonight. And some defense comes into play here in the top of the 5th inning for the PCL. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. There's an off-speed pitch hit for an RBI down the right field side. Todd Betts home to score. Cust digging for 2, and his perfect night continues with an RBI double. 6-3 Pacific Coast League.
I like the aggressive base running from Jack Cust right there. He took off the second base like that was a double all the way. Look at the swing right there. An uppercut from a power hitter. Got on top of that ball and drove, but right off the bat he was thinking double. Look at him hustle all the way. Eyes are focused on second base. Nice slide. It's a hard-working, hustling man right there, Jack Cust.
And here's Juan Thomas, who did his Juan Gone imitation last time up, with a blast of about 420 feet to straightaway center field. He's got a little Frank Thomas in that stance too, Tom.
Yeah, he does. You know, Bob, sometimes it takes a while for minor leaguers to figure it out. Sometimes it takes a couple of years. Sometimes it takes 5 or 6 years. And right now with Juan Thomas, it looks like he's figured it out. It's taken him a while. He's developed a little lately. He could be a star. You look at those hips. Look at the power that this body possesses. Sometimes you just learn to get a little selective at the plate. You start picking some good pitches out. Your selectivity and your pitch selection, and all of a sudden you get some good pitches to hit. And you can do some damage.
Juan Thomas out to second base. P.J. Forbes gobbles it up and throws him out. So in the 5th, 3 runs, 2 of them unearned. Some questionable defense in the inning, but some real good defense too. Chris Latham, who's heading for the Blue Jays, throwing out TIKE REDMAN at the plate, and halfway through the AAA All-Star game, 6-3 PCL.
A great deal of tradition for baseball here in Indianapolis, well before Victory Field. Dave Concepcion and Ken Griffey played here in AAA, 1 step away from the major leagues and the Big Red Machine. George Foster in 1973 on his way to the majors, where he hit 50 home runs eventually. And with the Expos, Andres Galarraga, as they had the Expos farm team here, 1985, Larry Walker, Randy Johnson, who was harnessing his control on his way up to stardom in the big leagues.
Thank you, Joe Castellano, as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. You know, some people who are thinking about building major league ballparks, they should come and have a look at Victory Field in Indianapolis. These concourses are wider than a lot of major league parks I've seen. What a wonderful, comfortable place this is for the fans of Indiana.
You can drive a school bus around the concourse here.
I think you could drive one going either direction. Bottom of the 5th inning. As often happens in these All-Star games, we had a little pause here, waiting for someone to coach first base. And it looks like Calvin Pickering, the DH from Joe Castellano's Rochester Red Wings, will go over there and take care of matters. Chris Latham leads off in a strike. Bottom of the 5th. Chris plays for the Syracuse Chiefs. Next up, Kevin Ory and Eric Almonte scheduled to bat here in the bottom of the 5th. We will say scheduled to bat from here on out. because we're getting to that time of any All-Star game when these substitutions start flowing freely. 1-1 pitch. By the way, this is Ruben Quevedo of the Iowa Cubs, his third inning of work. He's given up 1 run on 1 hit so far. Looked like a changeup, and he slowed down the bat of Chris Latham. Out to center. Does Redmond see it? Yeah, Tyke does. He's got it. It's still that dangerous twilight time here as the players, if the center fielder looks in toward home plate, he's looking toward the southwest here. And the sky still a little twilighty back there. And that's the first out here in the 5th. Next up, Kevin Ory.
Also, when you look right now, and a little telestrator right here, but you see how all the white shirts and the crowd is right behind the plate. So for a center fielder, sometimes the ball gets lost in there right off the bat, and that, coupled with the twilight, is tough to pick the ball up.
Here's Kevin Ory, bounced out to second first time up. Well, Kevin's one of those guys that Tom was talking about earlier. He knows his chances with the Phillies are slim, barring a Scott Rowland injury. But then for the parent club, they look at it just the other way. They're thinking, hey, we've got some great insurance at the AAA level if anything would ever happen to our guy.
Yes, it is. Kevin Ory plays a good defensive third base. He does have some power, so they know that he's capable of having a little bit of big league experience with the Cubs, that if something did happen to Scott Rowland, he could definitely go out and help the club out.
Kevin Ory hits that ball well to left center, but it's caught on the track by Eric Burns. We mentioned how deep that is. To the end of that scoreboard is probably about 405 feet. And then it goes all the way out to 418 in the deep left center.
Say Kevin Ory has a lot of power. Got that ball away from him, but he was able to extend his arms. And in most ballparks, that's how you look at Eric Burns right now. He's going, am I running out of room here? He's trying to focus on the ball. And again, we see an outfielder have trouble trying to focus on the baseball. The twilight is tough here.
Eric Burns plays in Sacramento, and he's probably never seen a left center field in the PCL like this one here. Eric Almonte, the Columbus shortstop, bounced out to second first time up. And Ruben Quevedo a chance for a 1-2-3 5th inning. 6-3, the Pacific Coast League All-Stars are ahead. They're trying to win their 3rd straight in this series. This is the 14th annual AAA All-Star game. For the first 10 years, they played National League affiliates versus American League. And now, including tonight, the last 4 years, PCL, International League, 2 balls and a strike. And of course, both of those leagues years ago absorbing what was left of the old American Association, which was the primary Midwest League. International has always been the Eastern League and the PCL out west. So the American Association, a league with great tradition, does not exist anymore. It was incorporated into both of these. That's why you've got teams in the Pacific Coast League from everywhere between Tacoma and New Orleans and Nashville and Memphis. And then the International League, of course, from Louisville all the way up to the East Coast and into Canada with Ottawa.
That way also a lot of the teams don't see each other that much.
And it's upstairs, 3-2.
They only make one trip in, and when you think if you're playing down up in Tacoma and you have to go all the way to New Orleans, that's a big road trip for a AAA club.
That is one long bus ride, Tom.
Oh, I doubt if they ride the bus, but they'd stop at McDonald's 10 times if they did.
There's a changeup on a 3-2 pitch and a strikeout. And in 3 innings, Ruben Quevedo gives up 1 run, 6-3 PCL.
Six to 3 PCL as we go to the top of the 6th inning. And earlier in this game, a home run by Juan Thomas, a pretty good shot that he hit in the 4th inning it was. And lucky fan Jordan Slattery was able to climb up into the weeds over here and grab the baseball. And Jordan Slattery is with us. And Jordan, you gave that baseball up. You don't have it with you. What'd you do?
I gave it to a little kid. I thought he'd enjoy it a little bit more than I would, you know. Being my first time here, you know, I'd rather give it away.
Now, do you come to a lot of games and sit in this grass area and hawk a lot of home run balls?
No, this is my first game here, and It's pretty nice. I'm enjoying my time here.
Was there a little bit of a fear factor? I mean, that's illegal. You're not supposed to go into that grass over there.
Oh, well, no, I just decided to do it, you know. Didn't know what to do, so I go for it.
All right, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Bob and Tom?
Yeah, nice job, Joe. Get the guy arrested now. We go to the top of the 6th inning. A whole new infield for the International League. We'll set it for you in a moment. Still on the mound is that overhand delivery of Columbus Clipper Brett Jody. And the batter is Mike Goulin, the Calgary third baseman, who's 0 for 2 tonight, but having a huge season for the Cannons. And he jacks one to right field, pretty well hit. And this one is over the head of Brian Lesher to the wall. And there's that live bat of Mike Goulin. For a lot of years, a highly thought of prospect of the Cardinals. And now he's playing out in Calgary.
Well, watch the swing right here. See the pitch low and away, and he was focused on hitting that ball to the right field. That is an experienced hitter swinging at a pitch like that and driving it that far to right field. That is a good piece of hitting. Most times you get a young guy and they see a pitch, and the first thing they want to do is try to pull the pitch. That's a sign of a very experienced ball player.
Eric Byrnes, the batter. We have 6 new defensive players for the International League. At third base, Joe Creedy, White Sox prospect. Anthony Medrano at short. Anthony is with Buffalo. At second base, Henry Mateo from Ottawa. And at first base, Mike Coolbaugh, hometown guy from the Indianapolis Indians. And a younger brother, a former major leaguer, Scott Coolbaugh. New center fielder, right fielder as well. We'll set those for you momentarily. And a new catcher as well. Brett Jody looking around saying, wait a minute, I don't know any of these guys. None of them were here last inning. There's a 2-ball and a strike count. In center field, Raul Gonzalez of Louisville from the Riverbats. Over in right field will be Chris Sheff, another Louisville Riverbat. And behind the plate will be Dax Norris of Richmond. And we'll figure out where they're all hitting when they walk into the batter's box. That's a tough play. Pitcher's Leighton covering, and safe at first will be Eric Byrnes after the ball was fumbled around by Coolbaugh. That'll be an error on the first baseman. That's the 3rd International League error of the night.
Look at right here. See the ball squirt out right there. Eric Byrnes did a great job on trying to hit the ball to the right side of second base, move the runner from second base to third base, but also his speed. He's running from the get-go, and anytime as a first baseman you see a runner coming down the line as fast as he can, it puts a lot of pressure to try to pick that ball up and then try to get to the bag. Great hustle by Eric Byrnes.
First and third, nobody out. And the Pacific Coast League, a big chance to add to that 3-run lead now here in the 6th inning. Low and inside it goes to Ramon Castro, 0 for 2 tonight.
Certainly know why the Oakland Athletics organization likes Eric Byrnes. You see the speed that he's shown so far. You see the ability to try to hit behind the base runner, move him over to scoring position. That's winning baseball.
2-0. Mike Goulin led off the inning with a double over the head of right fielder Sheff. And then the grounder by Eric Byrnes ruled an error. First and third. Nobody out. 6-3 Pacific Coast League, top of the 6th. A 2-0 pitch here. And a bouncer out to short. Should be a double play. They'll concede the run to get the 6-4-3. And now it is 7-3 for the Pacific Coast League here in the top of the 6th inning. Real Classics presents Major League. It's one of the funniest and most beloved baseball movies ever. Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, Wesley Snipes, and an all-star cast. The bungling Cleveland Indians in a league of their own. Major League, a real classic where sports and movies collide Sunday night, 9 Eastern, only on ESPN Classic. And if you don't have it, call 1-800-CLASSIC or your local cable provider. I'm still wondering how Tom Berenger ever got to first base on that bunt.
Thank God they didn't have a stopwatch on him, huh?
But of course, folks, I am sitting next to a movie star in his own right. Are you Tom Candiotti or are you Hoyt Wilhelm? Who are you?
Hey, all I know is I got my SAG card. That's better than my baseball card.
A member of the Screen Actors Guild. That'll hold you in good stead here at ESPN, by the way. 3 balls and no strikes to Ramon Vasquez.
Honored to play Hoyt Wilhelm.
That was cool, huh? Being part of that for what, 6 days?
6 days. And I think I can't ever remember my arm hurting as bad after those 6 days of playing catch with everybody on that set. It was a blast.
A knuckleballer, folks, with a sore arm. Out to short it goes. Madrano the throw low, and a good pick by Coolbaugh. And that'll take care of the PCL in the top of the 6th. They get another run and lead it 7-3. You know, every minor league ballpark has its in-resident characters, and Macho Mike Sullivan is that man at every home game here in Indianapolis. He looks like an ex-knuckleballer to me.
Oh, ow, that was a low blow. But I tell you, when you go through, you make your journey through some of the minor league parks, there's always one of these guys at a lot of these parks that everybody can relate to over the years. Remember in Tacoma, they used to have a guy named Tacoma Ted who would send out all the scouting reports to all the players on how you're doing. These guys are just as much a fixture as the team is.
First up in the bottom of the 6th will be Henry Mateo, and a guy who's pitched for Oakland, the Padres, the Cubs, the Royals, and the Braves. Don Wingert will take over here.
Don Wingert is a journeyman. He has good stuff. He's had some success in the big leagues. He's had a taste of that big league life, and this is where you have to tip your hat to a lot of these guys that maybe are no longer prospects, but are doing whatever they can to try to get another shot up in the big leagues. And it's not easy for these guys to come down and go through what they've already gone through to get back up there.
So Henry Mateo leads off. Mike Coolbaugh to follow here in the bottom of the 6th inning for the International League. Henry Mateo, originally a draft choice in the 2nd round 6 years ago by the Expos, low and away. He's with the Ottawa Ball Club and having a pretty solid year with 33 runs batted in. And this guy can steal a base for you. Mateo hits one foul right down the first base side. Henry Mateo. From Santurce, Puerto Rico. This guy stole 48 bases in the Eastern League a year ago and just serves it over to the 3rd baseman Burrows for the out. And we've got defensive changes all over the place for the Pacific Coast League as well. Sean Burrows will play 3rd base. Now Mike Coolbaugh will get a nice reception. Hometown Indian of Indianapolis. And Coolbaugh hitting .279 with 10 homers and 50 runs batted in. His older brother Scott used to play for the Texas Rangers. No balls, 1 strike. Told us, I think Scott is managing in the minor leagues now. Rookie ball. And it's low and away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
I tell you, they've had a lot of brothers combinations that have come through and played in the AAA All-Star games in the past.
Ramon and Pedro Martinez. And Don Wingert with a great breaking ball right there, and he's got Coolbaugh, 1 ball, 2 strikes here. There's a list of great players. You might have remembered when we signed on, I said 43 players have appeared in both the AAA All-Star game and the Major League All-Star game. There are some great names on that list. 1-2, and a jam job fouled back. Brett Boone, Jeremy Burnitz, Jay Bell, Carl Everett, Steve Finley, Juan Gonzalez, Todd Helton, Derek Jeter, Chipper Jones, the Martinez brothers, Tino Martinez, Denny Nagel, Mike Piazza, Ruben Sierra. How about his career? Ruben has resurrected himself. Jim Thome and Bernie Williams, and there are many others.
Sound like you just named the regular All-Star team.
Pretty good guys there, huh?
Absolutely.
Fastball inside, 2-2.
Well, a lot of players have to take baby steps. You got to go through the whole process of going from single A to double A to triple A. And when you're good enough, you get a chance to display your talents here in the All-Star game. It's a big thrill for a lot of these players to be here.
Three balls, 2 strikes. International League looking for some base runners. They're 4 runs down. Not that time. And Don Wegert strikes out Mike Coolball. His first strikeout. And next up will be the Richmond catcher, Dax Norris.
His experience with Don Wegert right here, throwing a nice low breaking slider, low out of the zone and breaking away from Mike Coolball. It's a very tough pitch to hit even for a major league hitter. But that's experience right there of someone who knows how to locate his pitches and knows how to go to his strengths when he's ahead in the count.
And a bouncer to the right side from Norris. Figueroa, the second baseman, throws him out. And a 1-2-3-6 for the veteran Don Wenger. On to the 7th in Indy, 7-3 Pacific Coast League.
Is that Roy Smith?
That should be Smith.
Start spinning.
Well, folks, we're in a minor league ballpark. You've seen it before.
Now, crowd, what do you think?
We got the spins going on.
Rowdy, help him out.
Mascot helping out.
Keep spinning, not much longer. Here we go.
We got some shaky looking spinners there, Tom Gandiotti.
You know, that's what I do with my 2-year-old when he misbehaves. Instead of putting him in timeout, I make him spin around in circles.
But watch the athleticism here at the end. There she goes. How much you get for winning the Hoosier Lottery, by the way? New pitcher Roy Smith of Buffalo, who works out of the bullpen there for the Bison.
Very interesting story with Roy Smith. One day he was playing catch in the outfield, and they saw him dropping down and throwing sidearm. And they weren't aware that he could do that. He was always an over-the-top guy. And the Cleveland Indian organization said, listen, you have a future this way. So all of a sudden he started pitching sidearm, and right now he's made himself into a prospect. It resembles a lot of Steve Reed, only with a little bit better of a changeup. So he'll someday soon you'll probably see him in the bullpen with the Cleveland Indians as a setup guy, possibly even a middle guy.
Actually got some time in last year after leaving Albuquerque with the Mexico City Reds. Chris Prieto, the man I'm talking about, who steps in to lead off here, came into play center field. And there's that pitch diving low and away. Pitchers like this are incapable of throwing a ball straight.
And not only that, but most hitters are looking for a release point for a pitcher up around the ear. And all of a sudden you drop down from around the belt or below. That's very tough. Look at that pitch. Great little changeup, but that has super movement down in the zone. Tough for a hitter to pick up for the first time. Watch the catcher set up low and away. And look at the crossfire right here. Down. Look at that ball just go down. Looked like a changeup to me, as the hitter was way out in front. So that's you know, it's important for a right-handed reliever to be able to get a left-handed batter out.
Luis Figueroa, the batter, and a bouncer to the right side. Figueroa came in a couple of innings ago. He's an infielder from Nashville, switch hitter, and he bounces out to second base there. So 2 quick outs here in the 7th, and next up will be the Omaha infielder, Kit Pello.
And the subs are coming, one after another. lot of big power numbers from Kid Pello. Good production guy, nice average. But again, when you're looking at some of these guys, what makes them get to the big leagues quicker than anything is their production numbers and their ability to hit the long ball. That's why we see a lot of big power numbers today in this game.
Low and away from Roy Smith. The 6'6", 235-pound right-hander born in St. Petersburg. 6 saves and a 1.07 earned run average for the Indians AAA in Buffalo. 2 balls and a strike to Pello.
You know, Roy Smith is even more tougher on right-handed batters. Look at where his crossfire is.
And a grounder out to short. Madrano behind it, on target, and the pitchers are now taking this game back after some rocky middle innings. 7th inning stretch time. 7-3 Pacific Coast League.
Victory Field, Mr. Carl Erskine.
The Dodger great Carl Erskine from Anderson, Indiana. And Brooklyn Dodger fans who remember him as a great right-hander, great control, that big Dodger curveball. And of course, Dodgers pitchers have been throwing great curveballs ever since those days at Ebbets Field. Carl Erskine with a nice local touch to this one. And here's a man, Johnny Ruffin, who has pitched with the Reds, the Kintetsu Buffalo in Japan, the Oaxaca club in the Mexican League, and he's trying to make his way back to the Marlins with the Calgary Ball Club.
Perseverance at its best, Bob.
And this man has to be the most valuable player. Tony Pena is with us, the manager of the Pacific Coast League. Tony, a longtime major league catcher. Tony, you finally going to get Adam Dunn here? He's hit 2 homers off you already.
Well, the only way we can get him out is if we keep the ball down. He has a real quick bat, especially with a fastball. I see this kid hit in the future game, and he hit a long ride over there. And tonight he hit 2 real long home runs today in the same pitch. Here you go, right there. The fastball breaking pitch down the strike zone. He chased it, and we were able to talk him out. I mean, this guy is real for through. He's going to come down, and he's going to hit with awesome power. This guy has a lot of power.
Tony Pena, long career as a major league catcher. Tony, we enjoyed watching you so much. You had such a distinctive style of catching. Where did you start that, and how did you find out that that was something that you would be comfortable with?
Well, it was in 1979. I was playing double-A with Buffalo Bison. And there was a guy by the name by the Agnew Weirban. And he used to have a 95, 97 mile per hour fastball, but he didn't have no idea where the ball was going. And I decided to get down one knee, and this guy almost pitched a perfect again. Then since then, you know, I just started to get down, and I found out that everybody in the ball club liked it, and because they would help him out to keep the ball down, and I stayed like that for the rest of my career.
Well, we can't argue with what you did the rest of your career. In a moment, we're going to show the folks one of the great highlights of your career. The 1995 Division Series, Game 1, when you were playing for the Indians. How big of a thrill was that home run for you?
Well, sometimes you have a moment in your career that you're never going to forget. And I think that hit that I got, that hit that I'm never going to forget in my life. I don't think my family either going to forget about it, because it's something that you're always going to keep in your mind. And that swing, I'm never going to forget. I never get tired to see that swing home, and whenever I see with my family back home in Dominican Republic, my kids and my wife, I see around just watching the swing over and over.
Well, striking out Chris Sheff, Tony Peña's pitcher Johnny Ruffin, and now with 2 outs and the bases empty, we'll see Ron Wright, the infielder from Durham, and he will take over as the DH from Calvin Pickering of Rochester. Johnny Ruffin's got a great arm, Tony. There's got to be a major league club out there somewhere that would like this guy someday soon.
Well, 2 years ago, I see this kid in Albuquerque. He was with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he was struggling with command. And I always liked his arm, but for some reason he had a lack of command with the fastball. And we talked one day, and I told to him, I said, why don't you release the ball in the same spot every single time? And that maybe help you out, because as a catcher, he came to me and asked me about it. Since then, you know, he found the slider is real sharp. And it's like a short slider. He got 2 types of sliders. One that break like a short, and one that break a real tight in the strike zone, and that help you his out pitch. That's why you see those guys look real funny right now, because he throw one slider that's real short, and then he throw right there as a short slider. Then he look like a fastball, and this guy is swinging through.
Hey, Tony, stay with us. When we come back, I'm going to hook you up with another former Indian, Tom Candiotti.
Oh, my
he
God.
go to the 8th, Pacific Coast League, 7-3. Luis Gonzalez. I bet nobody thought he would win the home run hitting contest the other night, except maybe some National League pitchers who've had to deal with him. And how about Ichiro Suzuki of Seattle? He has taken the Northwest and baseball by storm. 2 of the outstanding players in the big leagues getting together Sunday Night Baseball, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Bob Carpenter, Tom Candiotti here at the AAA All-Star Game in Indianapolis. Oscar Enriquez. He's the only player in the game from that dominant Norfolk club that has a record of 54-35 and leads Charlotte by 11 games in the Southern Division of the International League.
Well, he's a closer in the making already with tremendous amount of saves. And this is what gives the Mets an opportunity to maybe possibly trade a couple guys. When you see a guy knocking on the door like this, hey, it gives your team options. It gives a general manager options. So it's very important for these guys to shine.
Tony Mota from the Dodger affiliate, the 51s of Las Vegas. A .299 hitter this year. And when you think of Mota, you think about a good swing and you think about a major league hitter.
I tell you what, when I think of Tony Mota, I remember playing in the family games when I was a member of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Tony Mota would come out and pitch to all the kids. What a remembrance. And of course, Manny still wanted to hit. Hey, Tony, did you play with Manny Mota?
No, I played against him by the end of his career. And I remember those kids coming around in Dodger Stadium, all those kids around. And right now, whenever we see those kids playing ball, I just feel awe. It's unbelievable the way, it's amazing the way the time go by.
Isn't it though? 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mota. And it's low and away.
Stay with it now, come on!
All right, Tony, now it's a family show, remember. We really appreciate your coming. Oh, you're out coaching third base now. All right.
I've been coaching towards the whole game.
Hey, you're not going to do a Lasorda for us tonight, are you?
No.
There's a broken bat grounder up the middle. Madrano on the run, a good play, and look at Mota get down that line. I hope we get a runner coming around third so we can hear Tony send him home.
You know, I see Tommy Lasorda last night, and I think that was funny, but also it was scary too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that he has so much skill. You know, like he get out of the way out of that bat, and he almost break his neck.
Well, we're glad Tommy's okay. He has a way of getting into the limelight, doesn't he?
Well, you know, Tommy, there's only one like him, and that's him.
This is Jose Fernandez, who will take over as the DH now, hitting for Juan Thomas. Jose with the Salt Lake club. And a batting mark of .314, almost 20 homers, and his next RBI number 60 when the Salt Lake club gets back to action.
You know, isn't it amazing how the camera could just find Tommy Lasorda no matter where he's at?
He got plenty of camera time last night.
Yes, indeed.
That was a fun All-Star game, Tony, even though a relatively low-scoring game at 4-1.
I think it's a lot of great things happening for baseball. I think what Alex Rodriguez did to Kyle.
Yeah.
You know, turn his position to him, and then Kyle came back and hit a home run. I think that was great for baseball. I think everybody was waiting for that to happen, and that was so nice from Alex Rodriguez to do that, what he did. And one more time, you have to say, tip your hat to this guy because he's a class guy.
Yep. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Fernandez. Hey, Tony, one question about you and the Pirates. Manny Sanguillen came before you did, and then, of course, you. What do you think of the young man they have now, Jason Kendall, who has been so good the last few years when he's been healthy?
I think Jason Kendall has been great. You know, I think he's the heart and soul of the organization right now. He's a great catcher. You know, even though I hear a lot of things about it, he have a lot of problem throwing. But I think it's mechanical. I think his mechanic is a little bit run. He's rushing a little bit, and he didn't get to stay back. And his body is up front. He didn't stay behind the ball. This way, whenever he threw the ball, he didn't have that much carry in throwing the ball to second base. I think what they're doing right now with him, playing him in the outfield, playing him in left field, that's going to help his career in the long time.
2-2 pitch and a pop-up straight back over our heads. You almost lost your third baseman a minute ago on that foul ball. Sean Burroughs was skipping out of the way of that one by Fernandez.
I know. I tell you what, we got a good talent right here. This kid right here swinging, and he spent some time with the California Angel already this year. He has awesome power too. It's a powerful ball club right now. Coming in, you know, doesn't matter how hard they're throwing, this kid gonna be all over that fastball.
Hey, Tony, how do you prepare some of your kids on the AAA level to get ready for the big league life? Not only just hitting and base running, but almost the mental part of the game, because that seems like that's what separates a lot of guys from making it or not making it.
There's no question about that. I think it's one of the things that everybody fighting over. Just try to get everybody focused to be able to play the game in the 100% level every single day. It's real tough for anybody to keep a group of guys playing the same level every single day. And I think you pass the message, and whenever you pass your message, you have to keep it. It's me. If you said you're going to do something, you have to make sure you do it, because if you know something goes wrong, you didn't do it, they're going to climb all over your head.
Sean Burroughs steps in, 2 outs, bases empty. Oh, what a play by Mateo! Henry Mateo of Ottawa. Oh, Canada! And the top of the 8th inning comes to a close. A 1-2-3 for Oscar Enriquez, and the defensive play of the game for Henry Mateo.
Look at this pitch to Sean Burroughs. Squares the ball right on the money. Looks like it's going for sure out there. Fully extended. That was looked like a wide receiver going after that ball, but man, what a great play and what a pick-me-up for your pitcher. Sometimes defense gets overlooked, and it's great seeing a defensive play. I just love guys getting dirty.
Leading off, Raul Gonzalez, the Louisville outfielder. In the bottom of the 8th inning for the International League, they need a rally here. They've been out hit 7-2. They're only 2 hits. The home runs by Adam Dunn, is that amazing? Nobody else in the lineup has managed to hit, except a guy who will probably be named the game's most valuable player, Adam Dunn, and it could be in a losing cause. Only one other base runner, Toby Hall, who reached on the error ahead of the Adam Dunn homer in the first off Bud Smith. 1 ball and no strikes. There's Adam Dunn, 2 homers, 3 ribbies tonight. And I don't blame Bill Evers. He's the only man he hasn't taken out of his lineup. I'd leave him in there.
You know, you've heard a lot of trade rumors with Dimitri Young from the Cincinnati Reds, and that is because you have Adam Dunn right there, and we saw his power. Just didn't hit the ball out of the park tonight. Hit 1 ball out of the stadium. So he's going to force his way on that Cincinnati Reds roster before long.
By the way, his first homer tonight went over the right field bleachers, landed on 1 hop onto West Street, which is a good 120 feet or so behind the right field wall. And there's the comparison between Adam Dunn and Dimitri Young. Dimitri's seeing better pitching at the top level, of course, but the numbers are interesting to project and look at. And Gonzalez gone. Johnny Ruffin fans his 4th consecutive batter.
Yeah, not to take anything away from Dimitri Young, because he is an established, solid major league hitter. But when you have a guy like Adam Dunn, who's forcing his way and putting up huge power numbers and production numbers and hitting for a high average, this enables the Cincinnati management to be able to move a guy like Dimitri Young and possibly help strengthen the club in other ways and have Adam Dunn fill in.
Here's Joe Creedy, and he jacks one out to left center. Prieto after it. He's got it with a one-handed grab. And Joe Creedy deserves another mention. Several weeks ago, when Herbert Perry was injured, he was up with the White Sox, and over about a week-and-a-half period, Creedy had a 5-game hitting streak and played very well and opened a few eyes on the south side of Chicago. Hit that ball fairly well, did Joe. He's retired for the second out here at the bottom of the 8th. And the batter will be Anthony Medrano, the Buffalo shortstop.
Well, Joe Creedy is going to be the heir apparent for the third base job in Chicago. So again, we see one of the top prospects in baseball just knocking on the door, waiting for his turn.
Medrano takes one. Anthony's for a strike. Anthony over 306 for the Bisons. And that one is on the inside corner. Finally, somebody made contact against Johnny Ruffin. Now the PCL has one more pitcher left. We would expect in the 9th to see Jim Mann, who is the New Orleans closer. And there's an 0-2 breaking ball that's fouled away. We have now seen everybody from the International League except for Matt DeWitt of Syracuse, who's warming up. We will not see John Dillinger because he's pitched so many innings lately for Syracuse. Not expected to start. He just had a long outing the other day as a starting pitcher. There's a swing and a miss. And how about Johnny Ruffin? 6 in a row, 5 on strikes. We go to the top of the 9th. 7-3 PCL.
The AAA All-Star Game is brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, this Bud's for you. And by Aramark, serving more than 15 million people at over 500,000 locations worldwide every day.
Well, folks, in a lineup card on an All-Star Game, it looks a lot like my scorebook. And last night out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, they had a great party for everybody connected with the AAA All-Star Game. They've got a media room up there with over 100 television sets, and everybody gathered for a good time, good food, good drink, and a look at the Major League All-Star Game from Seattle last night. There's Pudge. Great hospitality by the folks here in Indianapolis, and we roll into the 9th inning here. How about Johnny Ruffin? Yeah, buddy, you should be smiling with 5 strikeouts, retiring 6 in a row. And now another pretty good pitcher takes the mound. Matt DeWitt of Syracuse, their closer, and a first swing base hit. And that is Craig Monroe of the Oklahoma Redhawks as he gets a base hit up the middle in the top of the 9th. Joe Castellano, where are you, man?
I'm down here in the International League dugout with Chris Latham, the home run hitting contest champion, and then he made a great throw to the plate to nail a runner. How exciting was it to win that home run hitting contest yesterday?
It was very exciting. For somebody that wasn't even supposed to be in a home run derby, it was a great feeling. I had all these big guys out here, and I just talked to my mom. She said I looked like the littlest guy out here on the team. And to win, I was very blessed, and I was very excited.
Now the rest of the players here, they're wondering, when am I going to get my shot at the major leagues? You've been there before, and you know already you're going to the Blue Jays tomorrow. What kind of a feeling is that?
It's a blessing. I just thank the God. I just thank the Lord. I'm getting another chance to go back to the big leagues, and this time try to make the best of it and just go up there and have fun and just play my heart out.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you. Hi, everybody at home. Love you.
All right, back upstairs.
Latham from Dave Campbell's hometown now, Coeur d'Alene, Iowa. Isn't that great, though? A young guy playing in the AAA All-Star Game, looking for that next chance to get back to the big leagues, and he's got it. We wish him well. This is Valentin, Javier Valentin, the catcher from the Edmonton Trappers. Edmonton in last place now in the Northern Division of the Pacific Coast League. That ball's going out of play. They have 4 divisions in the PCL. New Orleans leads the East by 12 over Oklahoma. Tacoma leads the North by 10 over Calgary. Salt Lake leads the Central by 6 over Iowa. Interesting that Iowa's out there with Colorado Springs, Omaha, and Salt Lake. And then Las Vegas, 1 game under 500, leads the Wild South by 1 over Fresno, 4 over Sacramento, and 4.5 over Tucson. That'll be a crazy race. Matt DeWitt of Syracuse trying to keep this game where it is and forget it. A steal by Craig Monroe of Oklahoma, uncontested here in the 9th inning.
Well, he just took off the second base. Nobody was going to catch him right there. You look at Matt DeWitt's numbers, and he was a big component in the David Wells trade this year, coming over to the Toronto Blue Jays. So they have big plans for Mike DeWitt.
Javier Valentin pops one up, and over there to grab it, the shortstop Medrano. And Anthony puts it away, the Buffalo infielder, for the first out here in the top of the 9th. And a very interesting young man walking to the plate now. Some folks watching out in Colorado tonight know all about Juan Uribe, the Colorado Springs Sky Sox shortstop. And Tom, when I first heard that the Rockies might consider moving Nefi Perez somewhere else because of this young man, I was astounded. But now that I've seen more of Juan, you're starting to figure out what they're talking about.
Well, absolutely. I talked to Roy White before the game, and Roy said the hands on this guy are unbelievable. His range, his arm, his makeup. He knows a lot about him, and he has big leaguer written all over him. And again, it helps Dan O'Dowd and the Colorado Rockies organization to be able to trade Nefi Perez and know that you have a guy like Juan Uribe able to fill in.
Well, Nefi Perez has been just outstanding. A Gold Glove caliber shortstop. And Juan Uribe right there with him.
And again, you're looking at a comparison of someone who's done it against major league pitching, but nonetheless, you're still putting up the numbers in the level where he's playing.
Juan Uribe from the Dominican. And he will turn 22 years of age in just 11 days. 1 ball and 2 strikes to him. A runner at second, 1 out, top of the 9th. The Pacific Coast League leading the International League All-Stars 7-3 here in the 9th at Victory Field, Indianapolis. There's a breaking ball, punches him out on the outside corner. David Ashweek punching out the right-handed batter who didn't like the call, and that's the second out here in the 9th.
Watch this pitch right here by Mike DeWitt. Again, it's that slider. Got ahead in the count, and hey, low and away, but you know what? That's a good pitcher's pitch. And as a hitter, anything close, you got to try to at least get your bat on and foul it off. And yeah, he got the benefit of the call right there, but that is a quality pitcher's pitch.
Chris Prieto with the second at bat of the night. Struck out swinging to start the 7th. That was against Roy Smith of Buffalo. The pitching has been outstanding tonight. And I still can't believe the International League has not had a hit other than the 2 home runs of Adam Dunn. They've got the top of their order up in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, overall, the Coast League of guys have played pretty good defense. You know, you look at the International League team, and they made a couple buffs out in the field. They dropped misjudged a fly ball. Yeah, dropped a fly ball. Had a problem at first base. It opened up the big innings for the Pacific Coast League. But overall, you look at the play of this game, and it's been a very solidly played ball game.
1-1 pitch and a drive to left center. That ball will get down for an RBI. Monroe around third to score, and Prieto into second base with an RBI double, and it's 8-3 for the Pacific Coast League.
Again, we look at a great job of hitting by Prieto. You look at a left-hander hitting the ball the other way to the left side. You watch his swing, and look, he's not trying to pull that ball. See him watch the ball get back into his stance. That means he can see the ball a fraction of a second longer and still be able to hit the ball hard to the left side.
Next up, Luis Figueroa. Hey, there's a good swing too, and that's an RBI hit to left field. Prieto around third, and it's 9-3 for the Stars of the Pacific Coast League.
Almost looked like a clone of the swing again. Looks like DeWitt's been throwing a lot of outside fastballs. Hey, maybe these guys are inside watching on the video monitor, but they're coming up with an idea of hitting that first pitch and driving it to the left side for the left hand. That's good hitting.
You know, and I love that last shot we just saw, Tom. Guys who spend all summer battling each other, doing anything they can to beat each other. For one night, their teammates all pulling together in the same direction. And that is what is so cool about these all-star games. And heck, some of the kids get to be part of it too, like Cal Ripken's son did last night.
Yeah, that's always fun, and that's always part of baseball, when you can bring the kids down into the locker rooms, into the dugouts, and have them experience what their dad is experiencing. It's a great memory.
1 ball and 1 strike to Kit Pello. Meanwhile, on the other side, a little subdued in the International League dugout. They're going to have a huge 9th inning to have any chance. And they've got to do it against Jim Mann, who's an outstanding closer for the New Orleans Ball Club, leading the minor leagues with 21 saves at the break and a 1.49 earned run average. 1-2 to Pello. Bounced to short his first time. And a swing and a miss. That'll do it. In the top of the 9th, 2 runs on 3 hits, and the Pacific Coast League about to win their 3rd straight. They lead it 9-3. Figure out who's going to be the winner and the loser. 9-3 Pacific Coast League into the bottom of the 9th here at the International League has a tall task ahead. AAA All-Star Game, and every Sunday it is Baseball Today. Carl Ravitch, Harold Reynolds, and Buck Showalter. All of the week's stories and highlights, as well as live reports from select games. And we take you folks right up until the first pitch at 1 o'clock. Start your baseball week off with Baseball Today every Sunday. What Baseball Tonight is to ESPN, Baseball Today has become to ESPN2. Log on to ESPN.com for more on Major League Baseball. You can even log on to ESPN.com and find a bio on Tom Candiotti, tonight's AAA analyst. It's been fun, buddy. I've really enjoyed working with you for the first time.
Hey, this is a blast, man. You're just nursing this rookie along.
We go bottom 9. And Henry Mateo, who made that unbelievable defensive play a couple of innings ago, will lead off here. Followed by Mike Coolbaugh and Dax Norris. And the pitcher, Jim Mann of New Orleans, the closer, who has been almost impossible to solve this year. Problem is, what's he going to do with Billy Wagner pitching in Houston?
Well, I tell you what he can do is pretty soon, when you're talking about September 1st, if not sooner, the rosters will expand for all the major league clubs. They can expand up to 40 men. So he's going to, if he doesn't get called up before that, possibly even add another arm to the Houston bullpen, he will be there in September and help Billy Wagner spell him and probably even set him up a couple games.
Yeah, the way the Astros are playing right now, they're in the race. They are right behind the Cubs in the National League Central. 2 balls and a strike. And Mateo waits. A little late for that one. Brockton, Massachusetts is where the right-hander Jim Mann was born. Guys having a good time down there.
He's advertising the Gap.
Was that Mike Goulin? I think that was Mike. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Late again. Brockton, Massachusetts. Our crack researcher, Marty Aronoff, tells me, is where Rocky Marciano hailed from. And this is a pitcher, pardon the pun, folks, with a definite knockout punch when it comes to being a closer. 2-2, and he goes way upstairs, ball 3.
Well, not only does he possess a pretty good fastball, but it looks like he's throwing some type of split finger, possibly even a circle change that he likes to throw when he's ahead in the count. Split finger guys are very, very tough. They're usually good strikeout guys to have in the bullpen.
Great crowd for the ball game tonight. This ballpark holds 15,500. Somehow they got 15,868 in here, third largest AAA All-Star crowd ever. And there's a start for the home team. That's their first base runner since Adam Dunn homered 5 innings ago. And by the way, we need to tell you about what Adam Dunn has come and done here tonight in case he doesn't bat again. He's due to bat 4th in this inning. His 2 homers tonight ties Ryan Klesko's 2 homers in '93, playing for Richmond for the AAA All-Star Game record. And here's Mike Coolbaugh. Joe Castellano downstairs with Adam Dunn. Joey, is he going to get another at bat tonight?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to. And what kind of a week has this been for you? First, you're at the Futures game. You hit a home run. You hit 2 bombs here. Had to be great.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You know, the travel wasn't that, that fun, but other than that, I've had a great week, and it's an honor to play in both those games.
Talk about the decision. You are an excellent quarterback in high school. You had the chance that you could have played college football. What went into the decision to become a baseball player?
Just I knew baseball was something I wanted to do, and football, the situation wasn't right, so I just decided to pursue my baseball career.
What about Cincinnati? You think you're getting close?
I don't know. That's not up to me to decide.
All right, Adam. Congratulations on a great game.
Thanks a lot.
Adam Dunn, thanks. Up to you guys now.
Adam Dunn, 2 homers, 3 RBIs tonight. Coolbaugh hanging tough here. 2-1 pitch. He gets jammed and fouls it out of play. I'd love to see Adam Dunn come up one more time with a couple of guys on base. He may set. If he finds his bat, he evidently is looking for it. Now, how can a guy who plays for the Louisville Riverbats not be able to find his lumber?
I think the guys are playing a joke on him since he's the only guy with a hit.
You know, they have a decent bat company down there, don't they?
I would certainly think so.
There's a long one to left from Coolbaugh. It is gone! And the hometown guy hits a 2-run homer. It ain't over yet. 9-5 to score. And what a thrill for Mike Coolbaugh to hit a home run in the All-Star game in front of his hometown fans.
The fans are all on their feet saluting Mike Coolbaugh.
How about that extension?
That was great extension right there, and he knew as soon as he hit it that that ball was out of here.
Nobody out, and Dax Norris of Richmond fouls one off. Well, Adam Dunn is next. And if Dax Norris gets on, who knows what might happen.
Hey, another bloop and another blast.
Now, there is one pitcher the PCL has not used. That's left-hander Chris George, who's a starter for Omaha. There's a bouncer to the right side. Figueroa throws out Norris. And folks, in a moment, we have a chance to see if a little bit of history will happen here in Indianapolis tonight. No player has ever homered 3 times in the AAA All-Star game. Adam Dunn's done it twice.
Oh, and he's done it with style. Long ball way out of the stadium. And again, look at the extension on that. Look at the power he generates from his hips. That ball was out of here like a laser.
He goes up, swinging, high drive, right center. It'll stay in the ballpark for Prieto, and he just got under it a little bit too much. But how about Adam Dunn with some of the hacks he took tonight?
Well, I think he's displayed that this guy has got as good a power as anybody in baseball.
And Tony Pena will go out and get his pitcher so Chris George can face a man here in the 9th inning.
Well, that was a nice swing again. He just got underneath the ball, hit the bottom part of the ball. A fraction of an inch from sending that ball up by the light standards out there in right center.
So the final pitcher for the Pacific Coast League will come on and throw here, and that'll be left-hander Chris George of Omaha. We'll take a break and bring you back for the final out, or will there be more? Pacific Coast League 9-5. You got to build suspense for the.
That's not AAA talent either.
Well, somehow Tom Candiotti and I have run about 50 or 60 players through this thing in 2.5 hours. Tom, it's been a great deal of fun here in Indianapolis.
I tell you, I've had a blast watching you put that chicken scratch everywhere. That's amazing. These sparks are flying off your paper.
Yeah, this is what it looks like after I don't know, 50 players of an all-star game. We're not sure what this will mean tomorrow, but it's helping us keep track of things tonight. And how about this ballpark? Almost 16,000 people here tonight. And here's Chris George of Omaha to get his chance to nail down the final out.
Chris George might be the #1 left-handed pitching prospect in baseball. Again, he throws a lot like Tom Glavine, U.S. Olympian last year, and he knows how to pitch. He possesses a fastball, curve, slider, great change. He's got all the weapons he needs.
He goes 2-0 on Chris Sheff of Louisville, Adam Dunn's teammate. That one is low in the strike zone. 2 balls, 1 strike. They need 3 more runners and then somebody to pop one down at the bottom of that order. And Tony Pena is about to win 3 in a row here for the Pacific Coast League. They lost the first year in Norfolk, and now they've won in New Orleans, Rochester, and maybe another one tonight. And it was great fun for us to have Tony Pena and Bill Evers, both managers, joining us live.
Well, that's fun getting a chance to talk to the managers. Both of them, great interviews.
Yep. Maybe we'll try it with Lou Piniella Sunday night. I kind of doubt it. Mariners and the Diamondbacks, Sunday Night Baseball. That'll really be something with Luis Gonzalez and Ichiro Suzuki. 3-2 pitch, and that ball foul out of play. By the way, we have not mentioned one thing that's very significant. 2001 is the 100th anniversary of minor league baseball, and it was so fitting to start the night that Bud Selig was here with us to talk about the greatest relationship now that's existed between the majors and the minor leagues for quite a number of years. Here's a 3-2 pitch. A little flare to right center. It's got a chance, and it drops for a hit. And the International League still alive. They'll bring in Ron Wright of the Durham Bulls. And there's the Durham Bulls skipper, Bill Evers, managing the International League. You know, we haven't mentioned tonight the coaches. Gary Jones, the Pawtucket manager, and Kirk Champion, a St. Louis guy who helps out Charlotte as the pitching coach. On Tony Pena's staff, Roy White, the great Yankee, who's the hitting coach in Sacramento, and Chuck Kiffin, the Tucson pitching coach. Bob Grimes, the trainer for the PCL. Paul Anderson of Indianapolis, the hometown trainer for the International League. Ron Wright 0 for 1 with a strikeout. On a changeup, a pop-up out of play, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, I think it's great, as you mentioned, with Bud Selig being able to expose himself and make himself available to everybody. I think that's a great sign for baseball, that here's the commissioner not only visiting the real All-Star game, Major League All-Star game, but also coming down to the AAA All-Star game and making himself visible not only to us, but also to all the future stars of the game.
1-1 the count to Ron Wright of Durham. They play behind the runner at first with a 4-run lead, and the fastball's up and away, ball 2. Adam Dunn has already been named the most valuable player of the game. 2 homers, 3 RBIs in a losing cause, it appears. And by a fraction of an inch on that bat, he missed a 3rd one, just got under it a little bit in this inning. That fastball, and the PCL boys are wondering, where was that pitch? Instead, ball 3. Raul Gonzalez of Louisville on deck.
Again, the International League is just looking for a couple more base runners, and you never know with the power these guys have. This game could change.
There's a fastball in there. Adam Dunn will win the Maurice Lacroix Award, which goes for the MVP of the AAA. That sounds like something at the end of the NHL playoffs, right, with the Vezina Trophy or something. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runner will be going off first. Final pitch of the game. Yes, it is. And the Pacific Coast League wins it by a score of 9-5 in a ball game that took about 2 hours and 35 minutes to play. And Tom Candiotti, it was great fun in Indianapolis tonight.
Oh, it sure was. It was fun watching these guys displaying their talent on a huge stage, the biggest stage in minor league baseball. And some of them shine. Adam Dunn with the 2 monstrous home runs he hit. Johnny Ruffin coming out and really exhibiting what a great slider and working his way back into the major league pitcher. So we had a chance to see a lot of great stars out here tonight. And watching you work, Bob Carpenter, you were amazing.
Thank you, sir. And believe it or not, that was the first runner stranded by the International League in this ball game tonight. They only had 2 hits other than the homers of Adam Dunn, the 2-run homer by Mike Coolball, the hometown guy here in the 9th, and a 2-out single by Chris Sheff of Louisville. So tonight for the players, their sons, their fans, their coaches, their managers, a great night for AAA baseball here at Victory Field in Indianapolis as a crowd of 15,868 watches the Pacific Coast League take a 3-1 lead in this series with a 9-5 win tonight.